The players are out of the tunnel. The referee, John Brooks, has taken the match ball off the Emirates FA Cup plinth as the players make their way into the centre of the pitch. This is the first of 4 FA Cup quarter-finals that are live across the Talksport network. 3 of them tomorrow. Sheffield United Blackburn kicks off at 12 on Talksport 2. Brighton Grimsby is at 2:15 on Talksport. And that's followed exclusively by Manchester United Fulham at 4:30. We are the only place on national radio you can hear live commentary from Old Trafford. On Thursday, we're live from Naples as England start their Euro 2024 qualifying campaign against Italy. That is a 7:45 kickoff on Talksport. The players are lined up here at the Etihad. It's the first FA Cup quarter-final of the weekend. It's Manchester City against Burnley. Enjoy it in the company of us and Trevor Sinclair and Stan Matterface.
Old acquaintances are renewed as Vincent Kompany goes to the opposition dugout to shake a few familiar hands, but the competitive edge remains the same. Kompany spent 11 seasons at Manchester City, won 4 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, 4 League Cups and 2 Community Shields, and there's a statue of him out the front of this place, so it's as much his home as it is anybody else's. He is welcome to come back, but unlike his statue, Manchester City don't stand still. They have got a treble to chase. He has been introduced to the crowd. He takes a couple of strides out to the edge of the pitch and just has a quick wave and a doff of the cap to those who followed him with such gusto for many years. Also coming out to receive acclaim is Mike Summerby. Earlier this month, the Manchester City legend received an OBE from His Royal Highness Prince William. He represented the club on and off the field for 55 years. He's a great figure in football history. He's done some great charity work, and they were delighted to be able to recognise him today as well. Well, Pep Guardiola is not having everything his own way right now. Yes, they're through in the Champions League, but the draw is tough. They've got Bayern Munich next. The competition fierce in the Premier League. They're chasing Arsenal. By this time tomorrow, they could be 8 points behind. And there's still a long way to go in this competition too. The last thing they wanted was an emotional reunion with Vincent Kompany, even if the fans are quite enjoying it. A silverware-less season? Well, unlikely. That nothing is certain. Not the way things are going in the Premier League and elsewhere. And let's be clear, in Kompany's time, they'd already won the League Cup by now. City have won the last 5 matches. They certainly turned up the dial, but this will be competitive too. Burnley are blazing a trail in the Championship and haven't been beaten themselves since they last played a Premier League team at the end of December. And in Nathan Tella, I don't quite have Erling Haaland, Trevor Sinclair, but 19 goals. He'll want to prove he can cut it against the best tonight.
Absolutely, this is what he dreams of. 19 goals, 3 assists, and he'll want to showcase his ability to be able to score against Premier League opposition, because let's get it right, I cannot see Burnley not being there next season, so he'll want to showcase what he can do, and this is a massive, massive platform to do that.
Referees John Brooks, the assistants Darren Cann and Matt Wilkes. Andy Madley's on VAR. Tomorrow, 3 live quarter-finals back-to-back, getting underway with Sheffield United against Blackburn at midday, finishing with the all-Premier League contest between Manchester United and Fulham, only on Talksport at Old Trafford. But first, here on Talksport, it's the quarter-final specialist Manchester City looking for a 5th semi-final in the FA Cup in a row, and Burnley looking for their first since 1974. And we're underway with Manchester City shooting towards the south stand from left to right in the first half. Blue shirts, white shorts, blue socks, all very light blue, and Burnley in black with bright pink fluorescent trim attacking the goal away to our left. I'll go through the 2-11s in just a second, but Trevor Sinclair, they might be chomping through the Championship, but how much of a step in class is this?
It's a huge step in class, and you know, I mentioned it just in the top of the show. You look at the changes that Manchester City have made, 7 changes in all, but I can't really pick out a player apart from the goalkeeper that you wouldn't expect to be in that starting lineup for Manchester City at one stage through the season. So it's a really strong lineup that Pep's put into play today, and I think Burnley are going to have to be right at the top of their game, and Manchester City below their normal form for anything of a surprise here tonight.
Live and only on Talksport across national radio, it's Manchester City 0, Burnley 0. The ball is on the edge of the 18-yard box. Diaz plays it back to Stefan Ortega, whose right hand seems to be okay after injuring it at Bristol City, and he lollops the ball up down towards the right hand side. It's cut out by Mason and nudged out in front of the dugouts. The dugouts being occupied by Vincent Kompany, wearing a dark black suit and a black baseball cap, black trainers with thick white soles, patrolling down in front of us next to the ever stylish Pep Guardiola, who has his hands rammed into his stadium jacket, big puffer jacket pockets. Here is Diaz in the centre circle, playing it forward to De Bruyne, tucks it round the corner, right side, halfway inside opposition territory. It's Carl Walker, he looks for Mahrez, then back to De Bruyne, then out to Walker, who's low cross into the boxes, aimed towards Haaland. It's cut out by Al Dakhil and sent out towards the near side. Collected by De Bruyne once again, tucked further infield by Rodri, and Manchester City already showing how quick they can be when they win the ball back and snap into action.
Yeah, started really well, moving the ball around swiftly, getting them little interchanges of positional play as well as the ball, and complete control at the moment. A nice little throw down the right hand side there involving Kevin De Bruyne, no surprise.
One thing that they do brilliantly, by the way, Burnley, is work without the ball. They study Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid quite a lot, Craig Bellamy and Vincent Kompany, and they're brilliant when they haven't got possession, at closing down and pressurising. They've just done that to Manchester City and forced an error, which has led to a throw-in on this near side to the Championship team. 0-0, we've played 2.5 minutes. This is Talksport. It's raining in Manchester, you won't be too surprised about that. It hasn't rained much today, actually. It's been quite a nice day in Manchester today, but kick-off has come with a torrent of rain. Ball sent long down the left by goalkeeper Peacock Farrell. Goes out of play and away for a City throw in the right full-back position, and Carl Walker, who's back in the team. Yeah,
good to see Carl back in the team. Obviously, he's been a really good servant for the football club. Obviously, things have happened off the pitch, but Pep wants his players to have personality, and sometimes if you get personality on the pitch, you're sometimes going to get that personality off the pitch, but it's good to see him back in the side.
Yeah, you can't drop your standards or your... Here's Foden over on the far side, just in from the touchline, helps the ball in towards the edge of the penalty area, and it goes out over on that far side for a throw in to Burnley. 3.5 minutes gone. Burnley look for set for a return to the Premier League. City have got a bit of a fight on their hands with Arsenal to try and win the Premier League. Just 3 victories required for Burnley to get back to the top flight, the first time of asking.
Incredible effort, that, Sam. Incredible effort, because it's such a relentless league to be successful in, and for them to be just 3 wins away, it's outstanding.
And bearing in mind the issues that they've had off the field, they've spent £22 million. They've lost 28 players last summer and brought in 21.
And we were talking off air just while the ball's out for a goal kick. We were talking off air, and I said that's the advantage of bringing in a manager who's worked abroad. And I mentioned, I didn't mean to be disrespectful when I said that Vincent almost did an apprenticeship at Anderlecht, but not only did he do an apprenticeship and get used to managing, he also got his little black book out and started taking notes of players that he felt could handle the leagues in England, and most of the teams made up of Belgian players.
Ball on halfway, Erling Haaland gets challenged quite vociferously by Amin Al Dakhil, and it goes out towards the far side after it's been picked up by Rodri, who's then harassed by Lyle Foster and pushed to halfway. City come away with the ball, but it's not completely clean. Haaland's picked it up just in front of the back line. He's got away from Jordan Bayer and sent it out wide towards Alvarez. Alvarez, who's just operating as sort of the second striker. Foden on the left-hand side trying to poke the ball in to him, but was stretching, couldn't reach it as it went down the touchline. Emerick Laporte was the one playing it down there, and it goes out of play and away for a throw-in opposite us. Laporte, who has been plagued with injury this season and illness too. He started just 6 Premier League games this season.
Diaz has made a big difference since he's come back into the side.
Huge.
And Stones. Obviously, I looked at the game, a couple of the games that they've played, and they've played 4 central defenders across the back 4, because all of them can handle the ball. But you look throughout the side and it's just full of men. Grealish is a thick-set man. Kevin De Bruyne, they're all strong athletes, and apart from Foden, you would say, you wouldn't want to have a tussle with any of them when it comes to the physical side of the game.
It's a back four that's never really a back four as well, is it? It's sometimes a 3, sometimes a 2, depending on the way that the full-backs are moving and meandering into position. Rico Lewis has just gone into a central midfield position at the moment. The centre-backs are split. A long ball forward by Ortega goes right up the middle of the pitch into the chest of De Bruyne. He sends it wide towards Foden and then on to Alvarez, who takes it towards the touchline, attempts to turn. He's under pressure here. He gets it into Foden, who's on the byline, comes back to Rodri, brings the hammer down on it, takes a deflection. It scoots for the penalty area out to the wide right position. Mahrez then tries to get it under control, can't do so. It goes out of play and it's away for a goal kick away to our right. 7.5 minutes gone. Talksport on a thrilling Saturday afternoon of action. What a day it was in the Premier League. Aston Villa, told you they weren't very good. They beat Bournemouth by 3-0. Adrian had a bit of fun with that earlier. Yeah. Didn't quote me verbatim, I must admit. Adrian's just likes to give it a little bit of a twist. If you want to hear what I actually said, it's on the podcast, Game Day Podcast, which you can download from our app. Brentford 1, Leicester 1. Another point for Brentford. Not a great time for Leicester, but a point on the board at this stage is probably useful. Southampton 3, Tottenham 3. What a dramatic game that was. That was the game that Alex and Adrian were at today. And Wolves Leeds finished 4-2 to Leeds United. Leeds. Huge result. Brilliant for them. Result. And if you saw the tackle by Nunez on Ayling right at the end, I mean, it was horrific. It really was. I mean, it could have been 2 red cards. Alvarez over the halfway line. You'll be able to talk about that with Jamie O'Hara and Gabby Agbonlahor a little bit later on. The ball chested down by Mahrez on the right side in the wing position. Across comes the defender and pokes it out on this near side. Mason travels forward with it. And eventually Josh Cullen, who was the captain for Vincent Kompany at Anderlecht, comes across and tidies things up on this near touchline. Foden's got a bit crunched over on the far side. He's not moving freely. Yeah, he was getting a crossing on the byline, and just as he pulled the ball back, he got caught. I don't think it was a penalty, but there was certainly contact and it was late because he'd already done what he wanted to do with the ball. But yeah, he certainly caught one there, and just be interesting to see how he gets on in the next 5 minutes. But just looking at this straight away, Burnley, they're not shrinking violets, they're not come here to lose. You can see that they're combative, they're working hard, they're not passive and thinking, we've just got to let them keep the ball. They're getting higher, the press is intense, and they're keeping Manchester City honest with the ball. Manchester City have won the last 4 FA Cup quarter-finals, and they're looking for a 5th semi-final appearance in a row. They're on the hunt for a potential treble. They've got a tough draw in the Champions League.
Ortega's distribution's unbelievable.
Yeah, and do you know what? That's something that I think people worried about when Ederson's not in the team. But Ortega is probably been picked for that reason. Absolutely. As the backup goalkeeper. Because he was relegated last year in Germany.
Yeah, he's mixed it up so well already. He's got a couple wide ones to Mahrez, then he's gone straight down the middle to Kevin De Bruyne, and now he's playing a little bit shorter, but he's got every pass in the locker, and he's showcasing that tonight. I mean, their passing drills in training must be insane.
He's just lolloped one right up down the left-hand side, looking for the run of Haaland. It's in behind the defence, who've covered well. Across goes Armin Al-Dakhil and holds off Erling Haaland, does a little back heel. Across comes Connor Roberts. He gets fouled by the Norwegian.
He bought that one.
Well, he's a wily old character, is Connor Roberts, the Welsh international.
Very good player, been impressed with him.
Cleared upfield by Peacock Farrell, but one back by Manchester City. 9.5 gone on Talksport. In a jam-packed Etihad Stadium tonight, the atmosphere is buzzing. Is Manchester City looking to string a 6-win in a row together as they go upfield towards Foden. That was late on by Roberts on Foden, and John Brooks wants to have a word with him. He was eager to try and win the ball, but he was coming from behind, and Foden felt that contact.
I feel that's got to be a booking. He's come right through the back of him, raked down the back of his calves and Achilles. Really dangerous tackle, and these are the kind of tackles that we want to get rid of in football. He stood a little bit high as well. Just watching it on the replay now. Yeah, he's not in control. He's caught Foden just before the ball. Surprised he's not been booked there.
He got a lot of the ball though, didn't he?
He did get the ball, but he actually went through the player, so I'm surprised referee John Brooks has not given that card there. Well,
he hasn't given it so far, although not that getting the ball has ever been a defence in law for as long as I can remember. I think it's been 15 years since that was taken out. So It's not as if he could use that as a defence.
It's a compliment, isn't it, for Foden? Because he knows how threatening Foden can be on the ball. He doesn't want him to get that ball under control.
4 goals in his last 4 starts for Manchester City for Phil Foden, who's chasing a long ball down the left-hand side. Alvarez was out there too. It went back to Peacock Farrell, who clears it up towards the halfway line. It goes all the way to Ortega, and then infield it goes to Rodri. Rodri back to Diaz. Diaz, as Trevor has been saying, has made a huge difference. There's no coincidence that they've completely tightened up since he returned to the starting lineup. A massive miss. He missed 7 games over Christmas, and you could see that their wobble coincided with that.
Well, just as you're talking there, you can see him. He's dictating, he's organising, his arms are moving about, informing people where they need to be and where they need to expect to be. Just a leader on the pitch. You need that communication from leaders on the pitch, and he's doing that really well.
Rodri turns under no pressure, moves up towards the halfway line, tucks it back to Laporte, who doesn't really like football. I found out this week he's not
Laporte?
a football addict.
Wow.
Doesn't really like watching matches, he says.
Strange.
Into Ortega, and then back to all he's been doing is watching matches this season. He's been sitting on the bench for most of it. That's probably why he doesn't like it very much. Diaz under pressure from Foster, gets it back to the edge of the 6-yard box. Ortega, who's being pressed here, sends it clear up towards the left-hand side, and Foden's going to get hold of the ball on the far touchline. A little dab in field, joined by Alvarez, who runs down the side of the centre circle into Burnley territory. He cuts in field, right-footed, scoops the ball to the far side, taken down by Mahrez, who's taking on Maitson and gets towards the edge of the penalty area, cuts it back to De Bruyne via Walker. De Bruyne tries to go right through Cullen, doesn't manage to do it, so plays it square to Rodri. He's about 15 yards short of the penalty area, goes back to just in front of the centre circle, and then it's taken on by Diaz, then Laporte, and now with Rodri again inside Burnley territory on the right hand side. But he's under pressure from Goodmanson. They're pushing really high up and not giving them a moment's peace.
Yeah, really intense press, very good. There was a little movement there down the right hand side by Kyle Walker. Diaz just couldn't get the ball under control to get it out of his feet to make that pass, but if he did, you can see that's a pattern of play that Manchester City work on. As it goes back into Diaz there, the run is made and the ball inside the full-back and he's in, and you can't defend it, but he just couldn't get the ball under control. But these patterns of play are what Pep and all top managers now work on.
Here is Laporte looking for that slender figure of Foden, who brings the ball down, twirls backwards, plays it into Lewis. A little back heel from Alvarez. Lewis going forward. Foden takes over, chips the ball to the far post. Might come from Mahrez. It's cleared away by Maitson, and then jumps on the edge of the area where there's a challenge by Laporte on Teller. The referee has allowed play on, but City have got it back again. They swing it down the right. Diaz looking for Mahrez. It was overhit this time. Mahrez was a little bit on his heels actually, and it goes out on this near side, and it's away for a throw into Burnley. 0-0. We've played 13 minutes on Talksport. Pep Guardiola spent the early part of 2023 demanding more from his team, and they produced a stunning display on Wednesday. Really, maybe that was the first time we've seen them unleash their full potential this season.
Scary.
And they've had 80% of the ball in this game so far, but yet to have a shot on target in the game. Looking to try and find a way through now. De Bruyne looking for Haaland. Doesn't come off. It's bounced away by Jordan Bayer out towards the far side. Now it's collected by Alvarez, who's prodding and probing, trying to get into a good position. Rico Lewis back in field. Diaz, midpoint of the Burnley half, and now Walker with his shirt untucked to his waist. All the way back to Rodri. Comfortable possession for Manchester City.
I think a lot of people don't realise how hard Manchester City work to keep possession and make angles for each other.
De Bruyne looking for the run of Alvarez down the left side. He does brilliantly to get hold of it after initially losing it. He slid in, swirled and ran towards the edge of the penalty area, got to the byline and was pushed behind, and it's out for a goal kick. Might actually gone out for a throw-in over on the far side. Either way, it's Manchester City ball over on the far side now. That was excellent work by Julian Alvarez, who was picked out by Pep Guardiola this week when he said he's not interested in players knocking on his door and saying, I want to play games, I want to do this, I want to do that. He's only interested in the team, and he said Alvarez and Nathan Ake, 2 examples of players who never moan once.
Brilliant pros. Great example as well. And that's how you get that kind of spirit and that togetherness within the squad. You know, when you're not playing, you're supporting the rest of the boys.
Teller doing well to try and shoot the ball out towards the near side. Doesn't quite reach his intended target, Zaroury, who hasn't really been in the game up until this point. But he's a danger cutting in from that left-hand side onto his right foot when he gets the ball. And Manchester City take their time to get up towards the opposition half. Mahrez deals with the misfield by Maatson and sends it wide to Walker. They're in the right wing position now. Cutting back in field is Mahrez. Out towards the right, once again, hugging the touchline. Walker, Mahrez, then to Rodri. 3 to aim at in the centre. Lewis has come short into midfield. Plays the ball back to Rodri, and again, Burnley pressing really well, following, making sure all the gaps are plugged and making sure every man has a marker.
Yeah, but the angles that Manchester City players are making for each other, it just makes it difficult. You almost feel like you've got them in a little corner now, and they'll play a little triangle, a third man run, and all of a sudden they've beat that press and they're out. But they're sticking to the guns, as you would expect from a Vincent Kompany side. They look fit, they look physical, they look ready, and they're certainly, like I mentioned earlier, they're not shrinking violets. They're taking responsibility in the game and working hard out of possession.
Oh, they're full of confidence, aren't they? They're a side that like to build from back to front, but it's going to be difficult to maintain that against Manchester City. They do love to pinch the ball like they have just done. Teller has released Foster into the penalty area, driven right by Rico Lewis, who's recovered really well and shepherded Foster out towards the far side. Cullen joins the attack. They won this ball high up with their pressing. Zaroury down the left, played out by Mahrez towards the corner flag. It's out for a throw into Burnley. They're going to be careful of that, Manchester City.
Yeah, but you've got to expect it at times. You know, you're not going to be able to play through a press every time, and that's why it's good to mix it up. Sometimes you've got to go a little bit more direct straight into Haaland if that press is very committed and everyone's sticking to the guns, which Burnley are. So at times it's probably a good idea to go back to Ortega and then miss that middle part out and then go and join in off Haaland, because it's when you've got that out ball and you have a committed press, use it sometimes, because it'll just put a little bit of doubt in the mind of the team that are pressing.
Now, they've done very well in terms of their pressing so far in the game, Burnley, but we have only played 17 minutes. It's competitive, it's still 0-0, and they're used to having so much of the ball when they play in the Championship, but they haven't had much of it so far. But here's Zaroury on the ball. Teller trying to be under starters' orders. I think he may have been offside, but the play on, says the assistant. Teller gets to the edge of the penalty area, shoots down towards the goalkeeper's right, a touch around the corner, it goes out for a corner kick, the first of the game, and it goes Burnley's way. And the first shot in anger comes from Nathan Teller. I thought he was offside when that ball was played, but actually maybe Carl Walker, just a little bit sloppy, played him on the near touchline.
Nah, looking at the lines, I thought he was offside. It's a good save, it's a good strike. Under pressure, has to keep it match tempo, hits the target. It looks like it's possibly maybe just going outside the post, but it's a good save by Ortega. They've got to deal with this corner now, Manchester City.
Yeah, they certainly have. And it'll be taken on this near side by the Moroccan international Anas Zaroury. 10 goals himself this season so far. It's delivered deep towards the far post, drops inside the penalty area. Cullen tries to keep it alive, further away by Laporte, and then in the midpoint of the City half, it's tossed back in by Cullen to Zaroury, who's low cross into the near post, doesn't really catch it properly, and it just bobbles into the arms of Stefan Ortega in front of the goal away to our left hand side, the North Stand. Let's go off to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea looking to break into the top 10 today. Here's Ian Abrahams.
10 minutes to half-time. Chelsea 0, Everton 0. All the chances to Chelsea. Pickford saved twice from João Felix and a couple of times from Kai Havertz as well. But they haven't been able to get past the England keeper. At the other end, nothing much from Everton, but they have got a dangerous free kick right now. 10 to the break. Chelsea 0, Everton 0.
If my calculations are correct, the last time the Islands celebrated a Grand Slam on home soil, I was in primary school and you were at Lilleshall. Let's go to David Brady and find out how they're getting on.
Yeah, it's only happened, I think, 3 times in their history. They lead this one 10-6 at the break. England, though, having fullback Freddie Stewart red carded for a dangerous tackle just before half-time. 2 penalties by Owen Farrell to 1 by Johnny Sexton had England 6-3 ahead before Ireland hooker Dan Sheehan grabbed the only try of the game from a line-out move in the 34th minute. Sexton converted that one. Teams just coming out for the second half. It's Ireland 10 points, England 6.
Yeah, 1985 it was the last time they won it on home soil.
Incredible.
They've won it a few times since then, but not at on their home turf. It was the 5 nations back then, 6 nations now, and it's going to be a massive St Patrick's Day weekend.
Oh wow! Imagine
if they
being
managed
in
to
Dublin.
clinch it.
That would have been a good one to do.
Here in Manchester, where I'm sure the St Patrick's Day celebrations will continue anyway. In fact, I was somewhere earlier and someone was having a pint of Guinness at about 10:30 in the morning.
That's late.
It's still 0-0 between Manchester City and Burnley. 20 minutes gone, and we're live at the Etihad Stadium. We've got 3 quarter-finals for you tomorrow, and then Monday morning, hopefully they've all recovered from their Cheltenham escapades. The breakfast show team back together again with Ali and Laura. Here is a clearance out from Ortega, looking for Mahrez, under pressure from Zaroury. Infield it goes to Alvarez, who gets chased all the way back to his own penalty area by the centre back Jordan Bayer. Ortega under pressure plays it forward to the left and De Bruyne, and then Alvarez gives it away cheaply to Lyle Foster, who hands it off towards the edge of the penalty area. There's a challenge over on the far side on Vitinho. He doesn't get his shot away. Needed to be a little bit quicker with that. Vitinho, the first Brazilian ever to play for Burnley. And it's cleared away up towards halfway. Alvarez pokes it out towards the near side. Mahrez is going to take this on. Rodri's in front of him. They've got 4 men the wrong side of the ball here. Manchester City in the attack, but the cross is covered by Connor Roberts. Brilliant defending.
Yeah.
And it's cleared away by Burnley, who were a little bit exposed for the first time.
Yeah, they had numbers there on the left-hand side. Manchester City, Phil Foden, and I think Kevin De Bruyne were free. Excellent interception though, and just going back the other way, Rico Lewis, I think the ball was given away by Alvarez, and Rico Lewis, his speed of recovery to get back in and stop that shot being taken from the edge of the Manchester City box was superb.
Yeah, we haven't made much of the fact that Rico Lewis is playing as the left back today, when actually he's a right back.
What a talent.
Well, is he a midfielder actually?
Yeah, I mean, I think Pep stated it many times. He doesn't want players that can play in a certain position. He wants footballers who can play, and if you can play, you should be able to play anywhere on the pitch.
Well, he's certainly one of those. A ball sent forward by Burnley though, and Zaroury has managed to find Nathan Teller, who's in the left wing position now, taking on Carl Walker. Guts it back towards Zaroury. Zaroury looks up, went to go and cross it, decided against it, sent it back to Joey Goodmanson, and then back wide it goes to Teller, who's still in that left wing position, looking to probe for Burnley. 0-0 the score on Talksport in the FA Cup quarter-final. A place in the semi-finals up for grabs here. It's a lovely ball down the left for Teller. Teller doesn't get there because Diaz has just sprung out one of those long, lean limbs to just tangle the ball out from underneath Teller and prod it out for a corner. It was a brilliant tackle.
Great ball as well. Absolutely superb ball, but great covering across from Rodri. You know, we're talking about playing. He's a midfielder. He's in the centre. Oh, sorry, it's Diaz. It's Diaz. Yeah. What a tackle! And that's what we expect from him. You know, he's seen the run, it was onside, he had to get across, and if he doesn't make that challenge, Teller pulls the trigger from the angle of the 6-yard box, and there's every chance he's going to score.
Absolutely terrific from Ruben Diaz, as Manchester City have another corner to defend. Burnley with it, sending it towards the far post. It's a good header by Roberts, back across the face of goal, looped in again towards the central defender. Bayer comes towards him on the edge of the 6-yard box, couldn't get his shot away, and it's stopped by Ortega, who's thundered it forward towards Phil Foden, who's been dragged to the floor by Connor Roberts, who should have been booked for a challenge earlier on in the day. He definitely should be booked for that. I mean, that certainly had Aviva Stadium Dublin written all over it.
He's got away with one again there. I mean, let's forget about the challenge. Look at this touch from Phil Foden. To be able to pull that under control, and I know it wasn't right under him, it was going in the direction where he wanted it to go, but he's certainly got away with one there, Roberts.
Pep Guardiola's just having a word with Erling Haaland. He's pulled him right over to the technical area and then released him, given a few instructions to the Norwegian, who's passed those on to the captain Kevin De Bruyne. Is that because Pep's not talking to De Bruyne now, so he brings Haaland over and then Haaland has to tell him.
That's how rumours start.
And the rumours started when he took him off the other week when I was here, and De Bruyne went absolutely bonkers about it.
There's only one boss at this football club, and it's not Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah. And although it should be said that Vincent Kompany, who was integral in bringing De Bruyne to this football club by convincing him to do so, always said he was a bit of a moaner, even when he was a kid.
But I think that's just part of his combative nature. He wants to win.
There's another challenge here on Foden by Roberts, which the referee is being asked to deal with. Haaland is complaining. Foden's gone down, wants a bit of treatment, and John Brooks is just checking that Foden is okay. Let's have a quick replay of this. Roberts has gone in after the ball has gone. In fact, it wasn't Roberts this time. It was a sandwich between Roberts and Vitinho.
It's a foul. He stood on his foot.
Vitinho's just stood on his foot. Roberts was pushing him from the other side, and no action was taken. We were talking about bosses and fallouts. De Bruyne, Vincent Kompany said, I always thought when I first met him, he moans a lot, doesn't he, for a young kid?
I think it's a great sign. I think it's a great asset to have, because it means you care, whether you're in training, whether you're in matches. If you're moaning, you want to get more out of people and possibly yourself, as long as it's done in the right way.
Yeah, I don't think it was done in the right way at the World Cup. but when he had a go at his teammates, saying he wasn't sure they were up to the level that was required. But anyway, he's on the pitch playing today, and that always pleases Manchester City fans because he's absolutely terrific. 17 assists this season, scored a great goal in midweek and played a big part in that victory. And they have eventually given a foul over on the far side after a foul by Connor Roberts on Rico Lewis. Phil Foden is just saying to Connor Roberts, any chance you could calm this down? And it's going to be Rico Lewis who gets the free kick just in front of the touchline over on the far side.
I can understand why John Roberts, the referee, John Brooks doesn't give the foul there, because he's trying to give the advantage. But he's got to be careful, because if he doesn't start getting a card out, at least to Roberts, if he makes another foul, I think he's going to let this game get away from him a little bit.
Haaland plays it in towards the near side. He was actually accused of that last week, I think, at the Wolves game that he was involved in. John Brooks, he got a little bit of criticism for letting that go a little bit too much. Ball is over on the far touchline, still with Burnley. 0-0 the score. Rodri's pinched the pocket of Cullen and sent the ball in towards the edge of the penalty area. De Bruyne didn't quite lay it off to Mahrez. It comes back to Alvarez, who's going to shoot, takes a deflection, pops into the air, runs out wide towards the right. Mahrez will let this go out for a corner, and Manchester City will get their first corner of the game away to our right hand side. 27 minutes gone, 0-0 between Manchester City, second in the Premier League, and the runaway leaders of the Championship, Burnley.
They've done well. I think there's been 2 or 3 different occasions on the edge of the box, 20-25 yards out, where Manchester City players have been trying to pull the trigger, and they've got bodies out there to block it, which makes a massive difference.
Here is the corner. Mahrez to take it into the near post, and Haaland had made a brilliant run. He was unwatched, actually, as he glanced that on. He didn't get a proper contact on it.
I'd be disappointed with that. He should have got a contact on it.
If he had done it, would have been curtains, I think, for Burnley. Rico Lewis has been penalised for a foul on Nathan Teller. It's going to be a free kick 10 yards short of the halfway line, left of centre.
It's a lot to deal with, isn't it, for the referee? You're looking at the amount of decisions that he's had to make already, because it's so combative, this match. It's all action, and he literally needs eyes in the back of his head to get every decision right.
That Vincent Kompany fella looks cool, doesn't he?
Looks fit still, doesn't he?
He's looked cool,
I like his clobber, yeah.
Like,
I'm having
it's
him.
raining, he's just wearing his suit, he still looks damn fine,
yeah.
And he's wearing that baseball cap as well that goes with the whole outfit, the white t-shirt under the suit. He looks pretty special.
Yeah.
He carries himself very well, he speaks very well, and
knows the game inside out, doesn't he? And I think when you come from such a successful career, if you have got that humbleness about you, there's every chance you're going to be successful.
And that's something that he and his assistant Craig Bellamy are very keen to point out. They know they haven't achieved anything yet. There's still a long way to go in the Championship season. They've lost just one of their last 23 matches, and that was to Manchester United.
Do you think Craig Bellamy is the bad guy? Because I think both of them. I think both of them could be the bad guy, to be honest. Because I've seen some of Vincent's coaching sessions when he was at Anderlecht, and he is a calm, educating person.
Very calm.
Yeah, he's a teacher.
Here is Mahrez on the near side. He plays the ball infield towards Rodri. It goes back towards the centre, and it's cut out by Laporte before Burnley can spring an attack. Walker's got it now, under pressure, wanted to release it quickly, but Haaland had fallen over. Rodri takes the ball down the right touchline, and Manchester City try to come on the attack, but they haven't had too much joy in trying to test Peacock Farrell in the opening half an hour of the game. And that's because Burnley's coverage has been brilliant so far. That's a really intelligent ball by Foster. Teller's not going to get there, but he's going to put pressure on Laporte because it was into an angle. But he's got speed and he's chasing Ortega, and the goalkeeper is kicking clear up over the halfway line. And now it's picked up by Mahrez, who runs centrally through the centre circle, out towards the left-hand side. De Bruyne sweeps it further into the wing position. Foden's cross is aimed towards Haaland, whose header goes backwards of square and somehow goes nowhere near the goal. It
was a mismatch, wasn't it, though, on the far post? I mean, you can see Foden, that must be something that Pep and the players have pinpointed. If you get in a situation where you can pull off onto that fullback, he's about, 5'8", Maatsen.
Alvarez onto Mahrez, who's on the right edge of the penalty area. A little reverse ball into Alvarez once again. The Argentine tries to get it out of his feet. It's a good tackle down towards the right-hand side by Jordan Bayer, which blocked the attempted effort from Alvarez, and it allowed Peacock Farrell to come and collect the ball.
Yeah, great defending. Moved his feet quickly. You've got to be really on it there, ready to move your feet, and he moved his feet really well, covered the ball, and then was able just to scoop it back to his keeper in a sliding tackle, which wasn't really a back pass. So Peacock Farrell was able to pick the ball up. But yeah, good play. I mean, they're sticking to task now, Burnley. They've had a couple of breakaways. The one just earlier, I think it was a wasted opportunity because they had men over. But they're certainly in this game. First goal's going to make a big difference.
They don't look 18-1, do they?
No, absolutely not. But it's still early doors.
It is. It's 31 minutes on the clock, and it's 0-0 between these two clubs. Intrinsically linked because of the personnel that have travelled between the two. Here is the ball played out towards the left-hand side. Mason had got up towards the halfway line looking for Zaroury, but Walker had stepped in and won it. Across comes Bayat, and he puts it out on the near touchline. He's been integral to the way that Burnley want to play. He's very good at bringing the ball out of defence, but he senses danger superbly.
Good one-on-one defender as well, as we've just seen against Alvarez, because Alvarez is a great dribbler.
They're missing Ekdal today, who usually plays very well at the heart of defence. He stepped in for Harwood Bellis, who's been injured recently, hasn't played since the third round down at Bournemouth.
He's a big player for them. Yeah, big player for them. You know, being able to cut lines and play the ball through lines, pick players out, and yeah, I just think his passing range. He's a big size as well, so anything defensively coming into the box he can deal with, and he adds to their aerial prowess. But his passing range has been so impressive for me.
You're listening to Manchester City versus Burnley in the FA Cup quarter-final, live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. Here's Haaland going into the penalty area, round past the goalkeeper, cuts it past an advancing Peacock Farrell, and it rolls into an empty net. They've had one chance. It's taken 32 minutes for him to carve one. And as he ran to the edge of the penalty area, the goalkeeper came steaming out. He just touched it nonchalantly past the goalkeeper and gets his 40th goal of the season. The big 4-0 up for Erling Haaland, and we haven't even hit springtime yet. It's Manchester City 1, Burnley 0.
And he's had two chances. He had the header, which he got completely wrong about 3 minutes ago, and then that straight ball, straight run. I mean, it shouldn't really happen. You can see the fullback needs to narrow up a little bit. It's just literally, he gets there before the keeper, Peacock Farrell, and he toe pokes it past him. It's a great pick out, I have to say. Little toe poke, see you later, 1-0.
Erling Haaland combining with Julian Alvarez. A little poke past the advancing Peacock Farrell into the far corner. And as the rain teems down, the goals from Erling Haaland continue.
40 goals, Sam. 40 goals.
It's not bad, is it? Is that okay?
It's okay. It's okay.
What was it? I'm sure there was a point at one point in the season where someone said he makes them worse. I don't know who said that, but I'm sure they're sitting on their hands
Comedians. I mean, I think I mentioned it earlier in the season. He started so well. If he stays fit, you wouldn't be surprised. You wouldn't be surprised if he got to the big 5-0.
Well, he's going to get to the big 5-0.
Yeah.
The question is whoever gets three figures by the end of the season.
No.
Yeah. He might get 60, you know. He might get 60. I remember making a joke not a joke, but I did the calculations on the Game Day podcast earlier in the season. I said he'd get 55, and I said as I said it, he's not going to get 55. He's going to get 55. Here's Zaroury down the left-hand side, cutting in towards the edge of the penalty area. Off to Stamford Bridge in just a second. Roberts has it in the centre of midfield. He plays it wide. Up towards the edge of the penalty area is Mason. The Burnley players now trying to think of a way of getting themselves back into this game. They applied themselves diligently for 32 minutes, but it's very difficult to stop a player who was described by Lars Siversen on the warm-up show today with Max and Charlie as a combine harvester of a footballer. He just ploughs his way through everyone.
Wow. Some way to give a compliment.
Let's go off to Stamford Bridge. Anyone ploughing their way through the goals at Stamford Bridge? I heard it was 0-0 last time, Ian Abrahams.
Yeah, half-time, Chelsea 0, Everton 0. Chelsea massively on top. Havertz with a couple of efforts saved. Kovacic just one wide from the edge of the box. And João Felix, who's been the best player on the park, also had a couple of efforts saved by Jordan Pickford. Nothing really much coming at the other end. It's Chelsea 0, Everton 0.
Brilliant breakaway goal from Manchester City. Foden down the left-hand side, scampering into a wing position, a low ball across the 6-yard box, and he was there to tap it home. The Viking, the conqueror, Erling Haaland, from 5 yards out. It's 2-0 in a blink of an eye.
Conte. He gets his 41st goal of the season. He hadn't scored an FA Cup goal before today. He's got 2 before the break. It's Manchester City 2, Burnley 0.
Well, he's got a lot to thank Phil Foden for here. It's a great ball down the outside. Phil Foden leaves Roberts for dead. It's a pin-perfect cross-stroke pass along the floor, just along the edge of the 6-yard box, and he's not going to miss from there, from about 8 yards out. Just lifts it slightly with his left foot, coming in from the right-hand side. Lovely little finish, just lifts it over the keeper. 2-0 and his 41st goal of the season. The guy's incredible. But when you've got people literally serving it with jam on toast, you're not going to miss them chances and you're going to score a lot of goals.
Well, I can confirm that it is Chelsea 0, Everton 0 at half-time. If we interrupted Ian Abrahams, I'm very sorry about that. We kept him waiting, then interrupted him with a Haaland goal. The problem is you just can't take your eyes off Manchester City, because as soon as you do, they'll score. Elsewhere today, Aston Villa were beat Bournemouth by 3-0. Brentford won, Leicester 1 in the Premier League. Wolves were beaten at home by Leeds by 4-2. Wolves had a player sent off in that game. You'll be able to react to everything with Jamie O'Hara and Gabby Agbonlahor a little bit later on, 03717223344, and you will be able to react to Antonio Conte as well, whose team drew 3-3 despite being 3-1 up away at Southampton. He has gone explosive again. He's been speaking to Alex Crook. That interview coming up at half-time. It is headline making. It will be on Talksport at half-time. Don't go anywhere when we blow the whistle. He isn't just annoyed that he's speaking to Alex Crook, although Alex Crook did say on the Game Day podcast earlier in the week that Haaland fella is a bit of a donkey when he's not goal scoring. That's a quote, direct. I haven't twisted that. You can download it and listen to it if you want. We thought we'd bring that up at some point today. Here is Rodri.
Who needs enemies, eh?
Hey, yeah, when you're best friends for 23 years, you can dig each other out as often as we do.
Absolutely.
It's okay, it's all right, it's fine. We're all friends here. I don't know if he's friends with Antonio Conte. We'll find out in around about 8 minutes time. That's coming up. Make sure you listen to that. 2-0 Manchester City lead on Talk Sport.
Really tough task now for Burnley. 2-0
what do you
down.
do if you're Vincent Kompany?
I think you don't want to get spanked. You don't want to get spanked 7, and we've seen a really good Leipzig team get beat 7. So I think you've got to have a little bit of control. You don't want to just go gung-ho and try and get back into this game. I think you just try and get to half-time now, keep it at 2-0, and then have a little look at maybe changing a couple of players, bringing some fresh legs, and trying to improve on the second half, because the first half now, when Manchester City get the ball, they're not going to be going for goal. They're going to be playing 360-degree football and frustrating the life out of these young Burnley players.
And that's what they're doing. They've dominated possession for most of the game, actually. They've really very rarely let Burnley have anything of it. When Burnley have had their chances, it's because they've turned it over inside opposition territory. So far, it's been pretty one-way traffic, and the scoreline reflects that. 2-0, 2 goals from Erling Haaland, 1 in the 32nd minute, the second in the 35th. The statistics are pretty damning, really. 65% ball possession for Manchester City, and their expected goals of 0.97. I think probably sums up the quality of the chance that led to the first goal, when it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was played down the right channel, and he had to really get the deftest of touch to take it away from Bailey Peacock-Farrell in the Burnley goal.
I think there's a great coaching opportunity there for Vincent Kompany and the coaching team, because if you look at that goal, it's almost like Ian Maatsen had to come narrower, and if he comes narrower, he cuts that ball out. He's still quite fearful of Mahrez getting it wide, but you've always got to remember in football, when you're defending the goal, you're defending the goal, you're not defending the players. Let it go wide and you can go out and defend that.
Do you sometimes get distracted by the player if they are of the quality of Mahrez?
Possibly.
You forget those principles when you are a young player. You're still finding your way in these big, huge games.
Absolutely, but a straight ball and a straight run, you can't get undone like that. And if he just steps 3 or 4 yards narrower from his left-hand side, more central, that goal doesn't happen.
Ball played infield by Vitinho. It's picked up by Maatsen, who's running diagonally through the 6-yard, the centre circle. It's collected by Foster, who's just dropped off slightly and played wide to Zaroury, who attacks for Burnley on the right side. He cuts in right-footed, and he gets right underneath it. Too much air underneath that ball. I think he was trying to bend it in the far corner, but never really looked set, and it goes out of play and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side.
Yeah, we've seen him do that in the Championship, and you know, when they've got the majority of play, they're confident that the tails are up, you get a little bit more time to go and technically deal with that. But when you're being asked to do it at real match tempo, which Manchester City are asking these players to do, it's just not quite the same end result.
5 minutes to go before half-time. It's Manchester City 2, Burnley 0 on Talksport. And it's played out over on the far side towards Nathan Teller, who's knocked to the floor by Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis is protesting his innocence. I'm not surprised that he's a bit physical, Rico Lewis. His dad was a former Thai boxing British champion.
I got told that, a while back, and I thought it doesn't surprise me, because when you think about young players coming in, at times they can be quite tentative and not very physical. But straight away when he came into the Manchester City team, you could see he had that physical aspect to his game, and then you start listening and hearing what his dad does, and you understand why. Strong boy.
Champion. His sister is in the City Academy too. And he's made a startling beginning to his Manchester City pro career. 18 years of age, a lad from Bury.
Yeah, he went to school with my best mate's son.
Did he?
Yeah, great kid. Everyone speaks very highly of him. Really humble boy, and obviously a superstar to be.
4 minutes to go before half-time. Manchester City leading by 2-0 on a day where Chelsea struggling to get past Everton at Stamford Bridge. That game is at half-time now. Bayer has brought the ball out from defence and dragged his team up towards the halfway line. Burnley now coming forward down the right. Coutinho plays a loose ball centrally. He knows that was a poor ball because he's headed immediately in his hands. And Manchester City look to capitalise by spreading it out towards the wide left. And it's a good ball out by Mahrez to De Bruyne, who's right down by the corner. Plays it against the defender, who does brilliantly. Al Dakhil.
Great effort from De Bruyne there. He was out of space and he tried a little kind of delayed Cruyff to nutmeg the defender, and he just got enough on the ball to stop it happening.
Lyle Foster plays it wide. The weight of pass was poor, and it allowed Walker to come across and tuck it out for a throw-in on this near side before Zaroury could get hold of it. And there's a little bit of something lacking in the body language of the Burnley players now, almost as if they've sort of accepted their fate here.
It's almost like a boxer stepping up a level. He might be British standard and then he goes up to world standard, and the things that work for him at British standard are just not quite working. And that jab that Manchester City have and keeping the ball and tippy-tapping around, it's just taking the life and the fight out of Burnley a little bit now.
2 minutes to go before half-time. You're listening to Talk Sport. That's a poor clearance by Ortega. It's straight to Coutinho, and he's decided not to send it back towards the 18-yard box. It goes...
Put him at a shot there.
Bearing in mind his last ball didn't get it where it was intended, I thought that might be a little bit ambitious for him.
Yeah.
Burnley recalibrate themselves and try to build from the back once again. Connor Roberts across to Al Dakhil, and he plays it forward into Teller, who's dropped deep. He's actually scored 19 goals, Teller, bearing in mind that Southampton have only scored 23 league goals all season. It sort of beggars belief that they didn't recall him in January when they had the ability to do so.
Yeah, Phil Foden's getting quite rough treatment in this game, I have to say. I'm not sure.
He's just got some from Teller, actually.
Yeah, it's almost like a tag team. They're all having little goals at him, but he's a tough lad. He's used to it, and he will have been told many times when players are trying to kick you and take you out illegally, it's because they know how much of a threat you are.
Just doesn't stop it hurting, does it?
No, I mean, it's different when it's Grealish, because he is a thick set, he's got muscles upon muscles, whereas with Phil, he's quite a slight guy, but he's a strong kid.
They have a free kick. It's 15 yards outside the penalty area, wide on the left-hand side. Ireland 10, England 9. England down to 14 men. We'll update you on that as Ireland get ever closer to a grand slam. Here it's 2-0 as the ball goes in towards the back post from Foden. It's aimed towards the far edge of the 6-yard box. It goes past everybody. Diaz was coming in late. It flicked beyond him and out of play and away for a throw-in away to our right. For a goal kick away to our right-hand side.
Incredible cross that, Sam. Just needed a touch on it.
Diaz knows that he probably should have got something on that.
Yeah. Maybe you have to put that pace on it, or else the keeper will come and claim it because it's so close to him. He didn't want anything to do with that ball in. Just needed a touch.
Anthony Taylor is the fourth official. 1 minute of added time at the end of the first 45. A little slip from Rodri allows the defender Jordan Beyer to play the ball out wide. Josh Cullen takes over, and a very good time with Anderlecht when he was released or decided to leave Swansea. He came through the West Ham academy, ended up I think on loan at Swansea, then went out to Anderlecht, did very well.
I vaguely remember, I'm sure he got a tooth knocked out in a game and played on, and I just thought, wow, they're the tough player.
Is that the mark of someone sort of being really tough, is it?
Well, I've experienced it once in a game. I experienced it once in a game where I was coaching, and it was a county game, and a player, Adam Bolton, I think he had 2 or 3 teeth knocked out. He ended up scoring a hat-trick.
Maitson down the left-hand side. You're not selling it as a measure. Here is Maitson once again into the near post, shoots towards the far corner, pushed into the air by Ortega, and it's smuggled out by Lewis over on the far side. Vitinho keeps it alive for Burnley in the final few seconds of the first half that come to an end eventually, and they won't have an opportunity to try and hit back before the break. Pep Guardiola's team are revving up at just the right time. It's been a month since anyone beat them in any competition, and they don't look like losing this one after 2 goals in 5 minutes from Erling Haaland. Changed the nature of this game. It was a good start from Burnley, and they held their own in this match until that first goal from Erling Haaland. He's since scored again at the break. It's Manchester City 2, Burnley 0.
Burnley players jogging down the tunnel. Manchester City players, Kyle Walker and Riyad Mahrez, deep in conversation. What can Burnley do to get themselves back into this game? Let's take a look at the halftime highlights with Carling. Okay, Trevor Sinclair, how do you make that first 45 minutes? I mean, Burnley played well, they pressed well and limited City, but Erling Haaland, Alex Crook's words, not mine, the donkey, only needs one chance.
Donkey when he's not goal scoring. Got to quote him accurately.
I'm sorry about that.
I don't like it when I'm not quoted accurately, so we should make sure that we
defending him, unbelievable.
Well, no,
it's very rare, Sam.
Not really.
Yeah, listen, I think the game for me has gone as expected. Manchester City have dominated possession. I think there's been, because Burnley are a very confident side, they've come into this game where they believe that they might have the measure of Manchester City, but when you look at the levels, when you look at the quality of players in this Manchester City side, I just thought it'd be a matter of time. The first goal, I think it was avoidable. I think that would be the disappointing thing for Vincent Kompany, because as I mentioned, it was a straight ball and a straight run, and it's quite a simple finish, which he makes it look simple anyway, Erling Haaland, but a nice little toe poke past the keeper. And then the second goal was absolutely class. Roberts has had a ding-dong with Foden. Foden got the wrong side of him and literally put it on a plate for Haaland. It was still a clever finish because the keeper come out to try and smother the first time finish, and he just dinked it, just got his toe under the ball and just lifted it over him. And it's listen, that's what players who score 40, 50 goals a season do. And he's not really been in the game so much, Haaland, but he has been excellent when he's had his opportunities. He's very clinical.
It was only on a plate for him because of the strides he made into the box. If you watched his run, he literally, like a gazelle, 2 massive strides into the box to beat the 2 defenders, and then the angle of his shot to make sure he beat Bailey Peacock-Farrell as well. Yeah,
he's just got that sixth sense. Sometimes you can't teach that. It's a sixth sense, where to run, how urgent to run into areas, and when to come alive. And I mean, in that 18-yard box, that's what he does best. He comes alive and he sniffs out them chances, and when he gets them, more often than not, he scores them. He had one earlier, the header, I think he got it all wrong. He had a little bit of a company from a couple of the defenders from Burnley, so it kind of put him off a little bit, but it was almost like a 50-pence header. Got that one wrong, but he keeps his head up, pulls his socks up, rolls his sleeves up, cracks on with it. The next chance, put away. The next chance, put away. He's got 2 goals already. I wouldn't put it past him to score a hat-trick at least. And it's going to be difficult for Vincent because they've worked hard and they've competed and they've been combative and they've pressed as well as they can when they have opportunities, but they've not really had answers to compete with Manchester City in that first half. Yeah, Burnley did have chances though, didn't they? Particularly Teller, but Ruben Dias with a crucial challenge. Yeah, there was a Teller shot. I think Ortega, it might have just been going slightly wide, or the outside of the post. It was an important save for him, for his confidence, but it was a decent strike from Teller from the edge of the box, and then Maatsen just late on the 45th minute, straight at the keeper, over the bar. But yeah, fantastic tackle by Diaz that was supported one of the other chances.
Yep, certainly is. Manchester City lead 2-0 at the break. That was all thanks to Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
FA Cup half-time highlights on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup.
Ireland face England at the Aviva Stadium. David Brady is watching. Are they heading for a grand slam, David?
Yeah, it looks like it. The key score just moments ago. Centre Bundyaki putting his fellow centre Robbie Henshaw over for a fine try after Johnny Sexton had brought play down to the 5 metre line with a brilliant kick. It was 10-9 to Ireland at the break. England down to 14 with Freddie Stewart red carded. That key score though, Henshaw with the try, Sexton with the conversion, stretching the margin out to 8 points. 15 minutes to play. Ireland 17, England 9.
You're listening to the FA Cup quarter-final live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. Coming up, an explosive interview with Antonio Conte after Tottenham's 3-3 draw at Southampton. Stay with us, you don't want to miss this, or Jamie O'Hara's reaction to it. This is Talksport.
FA Cup live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
Hello, my name is Wendy and I'm a care worker for Josh.
Hello, my name is Josh. Wendy is my care worker.
Working with Josh is so joyous. To support him with all his emotional needs and the things he loves to do, which is singing and dancing, it is the most rewarding, satisfying job you could ever wish to have.
Wendy is amazing.
Search Care Careers now for a job made with understanding, made with teamwork, made with care.
Imagine how it'd feel to win £10,000. Like you'd smashed it. With Set for Life, you could win £10,000 every month for 30 years. Set for Life from the National Lottery. Play on the app. Prize may be capped. Account terms, rules, procedures and game-specific rules apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Whether you're searching for a chopping board or a fancy new blender, Visa Secure Technology helps keep your payments safe. Visa. How you pay matters.
At first, he was absolutely certain we were parked on level 2. Then he guaranteed it was on level 3. Then we checked on level 1. Now we are back on level 2 again. Ho-ho! I'm lugging the shopping. He keeps pressing the unlock button in the air and going, shh, so we can listen for the beep. Losing the car in the multi-story is less than ideal. But at least I've got my Costa. Because everything's made a little better when your coffee is. Costa Coffee. Made a little better.
Some things leave you guessing. Like, why are yawns contagious? But not MailChimp. MailChimp eliminates guesswork from email marketing by analysing data from billions of emails to offer up personalised recommendations for how to improve your email content and targeting. Guess less and sell more with Intuit MailChimp.
Coffee is getting complicated. Floral rose infusions, undertones of roasted pomegranate, and cherry hazelnut notes. I ordered a coffee, not a pavlova. McCafe coffees are made with organic milk and freshly ground Arabica beans. And you know what it tastes like? Coffee. Great tasting coffee. Simple.
So, took my date to Nando's last night, right? Medium half chicken, spicy rice, garlic bread. Cause man needs no menu. Anyway, she goes, I've never had Nando's garlic bread. And I'm like, what? So, gave her half, she takes a bite, and I swear down, it was love. Then, she binned me off for nicking her last chip. Madness. Nando's. This must be the place.
1, 2, 3. Football, golf and England cricket, your season ticket. A punt on a whippet and goals. A bit of Super Alley, the dance at Alley Pally. The next at Abbey Valley and Grand Green Bowls. Adiola Depot, the old firm life from Glasgow. Leather on the Willow plus Perry Groves. Premier League footballers, runners, riders, ballers. Lots of angry callers and anecdotes.
Don't be a blockhead. Listen to Talksport on DAB Digital Radio 1089 and 10:53 AM on the app and on your smart speaker. Talksport.
This is FA Cup Game Day Live. I'm Faye Carruthers, and there's been a goal at Stamford Bridge. Which way is it gone, Ian Abrahams?
8 minutes into the second half, the goal has gone to Chelsea. It's Chelsea 1, Everton 0. Finally, their pressure has paid off. Lovely ball out to the left-hand side, touched inside for João Felix via defender from 15 yards out. Sweep the ball home with his left foot. He's been the best player on the pitch by a mile. Kissed the post as it went in. It's Chelsea 1, Everton 0.
Manchester City 2, Burnley 0 at the break here at the Etihad. 2 goals from Erling Haaland. Second half action coming up shortly, but what a crazy afternoon it was in the Premier League. Tottenham threw away a 2-goal lead at St Mary's to draw 3-3 with Southampton, and after the match, Spurs boss Antonio Conte was not happy with the performance of his side.
I'm really upset, but not for the final result, but because this is the last situation that happened and made me upset because I think that it's the moment for everybody to take the responsibility, not only the club for the transfer market, because I listen blah blah transfer market, and then okay, and now another coach, okay, yeah, but the players, the responsibility of the players. Now it's the right moment for the players to take the responsibility, because they go into the pitch, and when they go into the pitch, they don't show the right spirit, they don't show to be a team, they don't show the desire to help each other. Yeah, I think that our fans didn't deserve this type of situation, and this is the last drop today. Okay, the last drop today, and I repeat, we have to take the responsibility to show the sense of responsibility, to show that we want to play for the badge, to defend the badge, the sense of belongings. I don't see this in my team, and I'm really frustrated for this, not for the final result. And before I repeat, I hide this type of situation, but I'm thinking that we are going to be not to improve the situation, but to be worse.
That was Antonio Conte speaking to Talksport's Alex Crook. So much in that. What do you think, Spurs fans? 03717 223344. Game day phone-in follows us at 8 o'clock. Jamie O'Hara and Gabby Agbonlahor. And Jamie is with us now. Jamie's passing the blame over again as a Spurs fan. What did you make of that?
Yeah, it's not nice to hear, your manager coming out and absolutely slaughtering the players. Look, I understand he's frustrated. The players in the end wasn't good enough. And he talks about them taking responsibility because, he doesn't see enough passion, enough fight, desire to win a game, people playing for themselves. Well, maybe that's because they see that in him. Because he's the man who's meant to give the team that. And them comments, for me, are for behind closed doors. You talk about them comments when you are in the dressing room, you get the lads in on Monday and say, this is what I think is wrong with them, this is what I'm not having. You speak to Daniel Levy about what you don't come out in public as a Spurs manager and absolutely crucify the players. That just says to me that he doesn't care. He doesn't care whether this team doesn't make the top 4 or makes the top 4 in the summer. He's gone. And now he's just passing the buck, and I think that's unacceptable. He's the manager in the dugout who's got to get the best out of the players in them moments, and he doesn't, because he don't care, so they don't believe in him.
Well, it's not the first time he's done it either. Sam Matterface, who's commentating on Man City Burnley here at the Etihad, it was almost exactly a year ago that Antonio Conte gave you that bombshell interview after that 1-0 defeat to Burnley, and it was almost exactly the same.
23rd of February 2022. It's a date that's etched on my mind, and it's not the only damning quotes. I mean, we've just played some of them, but I understand that to other colleagues in other interviews, he has called the players selfish. He said he sees a lot of selfish players in his team. He says they're playing for themselves, not for the team. They haven't made any progress this season. These are other quotes that will come out later on tonight. And this is a manager who he's responsible for improving the team, first of all. I go back to the fact that in the summer, I think a lot of people thought they'd done a good job in terms of bringing players in. He hasn't used a lot of those players. Jed Spencer's gone off. Richarlison they bought in at huge cost, and it's only recently that we've started to see him play regularly. The guy who scored 10 goals in 10 caps for Brazil and was brilliant at the World Cup, but yet couldn't get a game in a team that was struggling to score goals and to make goals unless they were being created or scored by Harry Kane. Son was having a terrible season, but Richarlison couldn't get in the team. So a lot of the players, I think, were feeling as if the manager wasn't treating them with the kind of respect that they deserved. And that certainly is what I've heard from the training ground as well, where there's been a lot of disruption in terms of scheduling and training, etc., etc. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I'm not there on a regular basis, but there is going to be a parting of ways, I think, between the club and Antonio Conte at some point, Jamie. Yeah. And I don't think that's going to be a bad thing.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's time to look. Do you do it now? That's the question. Can you get Pochettino to potentially come in and try and get a lift out of the players? Because I think the players will be listening to that interview after the game and be thinking, I'm not selfish. I'm running about. I'm giving my best. I'm trying. And I've got a manager who's coming out and just absolutely slaughtering us week in, week out, and is constantly miserable about the performances. Well, he's the manager. Your manager's meant to be the guy. If you're a manager and you're walking around and you've got the hump all the time, Daniel Levy's going to look at it and go, I've got to make a change. So why not do it now? It'd be interesting to know what fans think. It would be interesting to see what happens over the next few days, because I don't think that's going to go down well, that interview.
Well, what do you all think? 03717 22 33 44. Start getting your calls in now. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of you stacked up ready to speak to Jamie and to Gabby. The game day phone in follows us at 8 o'clock here on Talksport. We're just waiting for the players to come back out of the tunnel ahead of this second half. Burnley trailing by 2-0. Trevor Sinclair, part of our commentary team. Trevor, what is Vincent Kompany going to have said to his players in this 15-minute break to get them all firing for this final 45?
Well, I don't think he's going to give them a dressing down. I think it's going to be one where he's got a bit of empathy, because they are playing against a world-class team, possibly one of the best teams to have played in the Premier League era. So you've got to understand the levels that you're playing against. So he will have empathy. He'll want them to be a little bit more clinical in that final third. They've wasted a few opportunities. The finishing, especially at the end, I thought that chance from Maatsen was a really good chance. He's just put his head down and put his foot through it. Whereas can you have a little bit more guile, have a little bit more calmness about you? So be calm in that final third when you do get the opportunities. But don't go gung-ho now and try and get it back into the game in the opening 5-10 minutes of the second half. Because if you do that, this could end up being a real humbling experience for the players, and that then can lead into some of the form going into the Championship. So I think you realise who you're playing against. Don't be too hard on them. Go out there and show that personality.
He was hooked after 5 goals by Pep Guardiola against Leipzig. He's not been hooked after 2 goals. He has stepped back out on the pitch, Erling Haaland, hoping to get a hat-trick. He wants 2 hat-tricks, doesn't he?
Oh dear.
He's that type of person.
How many has he scored? 5, is it now? 5 or 6?
Hat-tricks?
Yeah.
I don't have my stat pack in front of me to confirm that.
It's 5 or 6.
That's your job,
yeah,
Trev.
He scored 5 or 6.
You tell me. We shall see whether or not he can get another one and add to his tally today. The Burnley players not out just yet. Manchester City over on the right-hand side. They'll be kicking right to left in this second half. The Burnley players now just making their way out. We've had about 17 minutes of half-time so far, so not what we're used to. Nothing according to time at the moment as Vincent Kompany makes his way out in his baseball cap, looking for a big 45 from his players. It's all coming up live on Talksport. Your commentary team of Trevor Sinclair and Sam Matterface will bring you the action.
Well, he scored 5 against Leipzig, 3 against Wolves, another 3 against Manchester United, another 3 against Nottingham Forest, and another 3 against Crystal Palace. So that is a high
5.
There you go. You have the answer to your question, Trevor. Will he be getting a 6th hat-trick of the season here today? We will find out. Ashley Barnes and Jack Cork have come on at half-time for Burnley to just try and give them a little bit more experience in that midfield area. Vincent Kompany making a couple of changes ahead of the second half here at the Etihad. Manchester City in blue shirts, white shorts and blue socks attacking the goal away to our left-hand side. I'll go through the 2-11s for you in just a second. I was a little bit surprised not to see Ashley Barnes from the start, because this is the kind of game, the kind of opposition where he can make a real nuisance of himself.
He can, because he's got an unbelievably physical presence on the pitch, and he's got a lot of experience, and he can upset the opposition. And if there's one thing, if you want to compete with Manchester City, you can't not upset them. You've got to get into him. You've got to leave a little foot in here and there without being too cynical. And Ashley Barnes, he does that very well.
Lyle Foster and Joey Goodmanson, I think, are the two players that have gone off. So the way that they're lining up right now is Bailey, Peacock, Farrell in goal. A back four of Roberts, Al-Dakhil, Bayer and Mateson as the back four. It's Josh Cullen and Cork in midfield. Coutinho one side, Zaroury the other, and Barnes behind Nathan Teller in attack. Actually, Barnes was the last Burnley player to score a goal at the Etihad Stadium, by the way, in a 4-1 defeat about 5 years ago. Here's De Bruyne for Manchester City, getting fouled by Coutinho, and a free kick is given level with the edge of the penalty area away to our left-hand side. The Manchester City team, Ortega in goal, Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Rodri and Lewis, then Mahrez, De Bruyne and Alvarez, then Foden on the left-hand side behind Erling Haaland in attack. They have a free kick a yard in from the left touchline. Ilkay Gundogan just exchanges pleasantries with one of the substitutes down in front of us, and it's going to be a free kick on the pitch, which De Bruyne will leave for Foden. Left-footed, arcs it towards the penalty spot. Laporte was up there, comes back to Lewis, edge of the area, sends it wide to Mahrez, who then scoops the ball towards the far post. Roberts will head it away from the edge of the 6-yard box. Lewis keeps it alive. Foden, with his back to goal, prods it into Kevin De Bruyne's path, and then it goes all the way back to Ortega, away to our right-hand side.
Yeah, another brilliant ball in that from Foden, right in that area where the goalkeeper doesn't want anything to do with it. And the defenders, it's the goal side of the defenders, so it's very difficult to defend that. They did well there, the Burnley back four.
Rain teeming down once again here at the Etihad Stadium, making for a slick surface as Pep Guardiola comes out to the edge of his technical area. Haaland doesn't hold the ball up as well as he might, gets challenged by Amin Al-Dakhil, who was born in Baghdad and raised in Belgium after fleeing the war, wanted to play under Vincent Kompany because he thought he could learn so much from him. And that's certainly a common theme whenever you speak to the Burnley players. They sort of have this belief that they are playing under a manager on whom they can pick up so many little tidbits. It was fascinating actually listening to Adrian Durham talk to Johnny Howson earlier, who was talking about Michael Carrick's impact at Middlesbrough and a similar sort of thing.
Yeah, well, listen, they're both extraordinary players. I'm a huge fan. I was fortunate enough to play with a young Michael Carrick. Very level-headed, never gets too excited when he plays well and wins games, and never gets too upset with himself. It's a development of a person, isn't it? And it doesn't surprise me that Michael's done exceptionally well at Middlesbrough. I thought he was going to do well if he would have been given the Manchester United job for longer, because I think the players straight away when he got that job temporarily did really well for him. And he's bided his time, and he's took a good job there and doing an absolutely brilliant job.
Zaroury out on the far side for Burnley, dragging his team up the pitch, and gets a clap from his manager as a result of that. Switches the play from left to right to Roberts, who joins the attack. On the right side is Coutinho, and not a great way to pass again, encourage Rodri to come and press, but the ball is clipped forward by Cullen into the penalty area, looking for Coutinho, made the forward run, then Cork sees the ball bounce off his chest as he charges into the penalty area. Down the right side it goes out for a goal kick away to our right hand side. Let's go off to the Six Nations and the Aviva Stadium. Are Ireland inching ever closer to that elusive Grand Slam at home, David Brady?
Very much so. Moving into the final minute now. Ireland 29, England 16. So 2 tries in a 6-minute spell from Robbie Henshaw, the centre, and the hooker Dan Sheehan with his second pulled Ireland clear. Jamie George did manage an England try, but on a good day for the Hookers Union, Ireland replacement number 2 Rob Herring has just made the game safe. Into the final minute, a fantastic atmosphere at the Aviva. Ireland poised to claim just their 4th ever Grand Slam. It's Ireland 29, England 16.
I may have got a little bit of stick from a couple of our journalistic friends who were listening on their radios and on their apps earlier on when I suggested that it was a bad thing to have a Guinness at 10 o'clock in the morning earlier on.
Strange people.
And I did point out that I was actually in a gym when I saw someone have that Guinness, which is why it was strange. Maybe I should have articulated that a little bit earlier.
It's the weekend that we're enjoying, with obviously St Patrick's Day yesterday, and Ireland a good chance, and it looks like they're going to get over the line for the Grand Slam.
2-0 here at the Etihad Stadium in the FA Cup for a place in the semi-finals of this competition. Jack Cork on at half-time. His dad was an FA Cup winner with Wimbledon back in '88.
Like him, good player, very technical, looks after the ball well.
Alvarez down the right side for Manchester City, sends a looping cross towards the far post, cut out by Foden. Was there a handball by Cork there? I think it was. Just sort of wrapped his arm around the body of Foden and nudged it away from him, so it's going to be a free kick 6 yards outside the penalty area. De Bruyne and Foden territory. Who fancies their chances? It's on the angle. It's probably best for a right footer, this, isn't it?
I think they'll cross it, unless, I mean, we've seen De Bruyne, I can't remember what goal it was this season, where he's kind of knuckleballed it into the joint between the crossbar and the top corner and the post, and it went in off the post. So he's got it in his locker from this kind of distance, but whether it's a tiny bit too wide to repeat that, I'm not sure. He might prefer to let Phil Foden, who's put in some great deliveries with his left foot already, take this, but for me it looks like it's going to be KDB.
He's placed the ball down and it's left of centre, and he's approaching it to address the ball right-footed. A three-man wall covering the near post. He steps up De Bruyne and sends it high into the north stand. I think he tried to knuckleball that.
He did, yeah.
But he got right underneath it, and too much air elevated the ball high into the night sky.
Yeah, it's a really difficult skill set to master, as we've seen there, because we have seen him do that and execute that superbly well, but on this occasion just got it completely wrong.
Ball sent long up towards Ashley Barnes, who flicks it on, looking for Teller. Blocked by Laporte. Teller still ratting around him, gives away a free kick, so we'll go off to a goal at Stamford Bridge and Ian Abrahams.
Chelsea 1, Everton 1 on 68 minutes. Doucouré's headed in. It was a corner that was headed goalwards. Doucouré's header only just crept over the line before Badiashile tried to clear it, but it did go over. Chelsea 1, Everton 1.
Yep.
Interesting.
1-1 then at Stamford Bridge. They just don't seem to be able to find any consistency, do they, Chelsea? And I think maybe the Chelsea fans might want to speak to Jamie O'Hara and Gabby Agbonlahor, a bit like the Tottenham fans. I wonder who could have the most callers tonight. 03717 223344 is the number to call if you want to get in touch. Alvarez trying to pump the ball forward. Might fortuitously come to Mahrez here. It does, in the right wing position. He takes on the defender, gets to the edge of the box and sends it back towards Diaz, whose left-footed cross reaches Foden. He heads it down when he could have just took a touch and then tried to unleash a shot. It was half cleared by Bayer and then out towards this near side. Still 2-0 to Manchester City in the second half here at the Etihad Stadium, as the rain continues to teem down from high above us here. We're in the bottom tier of the Colin Bell stand, towards the back of the first tier, right next to, nuzzling up alongside the rather luxurious Tunnel Club behind us. The ball is clipped forward by Foden. We're kept very far away from that, though. Arm's length, aren't we, Trevor? There aren't rascals in there.
No, absolutely not.
Rodri out towards the right-hand side. Mahrez in the centre, waiting for the ball from Walker, and he gets it and hits it goalwards, and it's stopped brilliantly by Peacock Farrell. There's a foul in midfield, and that was an essential save from Peacock Farrell from Riyad Mahrez after the ball in from Walker on the right-hand side. Mahrez instinctive touch forward, stopped by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, brilliant play from Manchester City. I mean, Kyle Walker makes so many of them runs overlapping down that right-hand side. This time it came to him on the volley. He volleyed it first time into just outside the 6-yard box, and it's an excellent effort, and the keeper stayed tall and made a good stop. Great chance, though. I think Mahrez will be slightly disappointed that he didn't get a little bit of angle on that volley.
Alvarez turning, winning the ball back, and then giving it to Rodri, who shoots from distance well over the bar again from 25 yards out. Manchester City have won their last 13 FA Cup ties against lower league opposition. And the last time that they were beaten here by a team from a lower division in the FA Cup was when Middlesbrough beat them in 2015. And they are a side that can blow you away. 21 times this season, that's half of them. They've scored 3 or more goals in a match. 10 times, it's been 4 or more.
I think that's because the pattern of the game changes, because they don't really need to go forward anymore. So they end up playing in 360 degree football again. and then you end up getting out of shape and they end up creating more opportunities.
Haaland starts to run at speed down the right side. He's beaten the defender, moved into the penalty, left footed, drives it goalward, saved by Peacock Farrell, who pushes it clear, and it goes out on the far side. Great chance for the hat-trick. That might not be over yet, because Walker is burning down the right. He skipped over one challenge, got to the bar line, produced a cross. Alvarez has taken it away from Haaland, and it's cleared eventually by Burnley up towards the halfway line. But you just saw him unleash some raw speed there, Erling Haaland. When he got into his gallop, Jordan Bayer could get nowhere near him.
No, and then he stood him up inside the box. You can't touch him. And Jink to go to the right, come inside on his favoured left. Look at him just bullying him there, shoulder shad him out of the way. Inside onto his favoured left foot. And it's a good strike, it's a good save, good angles from the keeper. Peacock Farrell, and it's a good stop in the end. But yeah, that could have been the hat-trick.
Sitting unbeaten in every one of their last 15 meetings with Burnley in all competitions. They've won 14, drawn 1. Burnley haven't won at Manchester City since they beat them at Main Road in the Charity Shield of 1973.
Vintage year, that.
Was that the year you were born? Here is Walker speeding over halfway. He's got support alongside him from Alvarez. He plays in Alvarez, right-footed. Tries a little dink towards the near corner. It was blocked really well. And then cleared away by Al Dakhil for the second time. It was a really good block by the Belgian, who got in front of that effort from Julian Alvarez.
It's a deft touch from Kyle Walker. You don't usually associate him with them kind of touches, but he's made a run inside towards the goal, and he just looked like he was going to cross it, and he just played a slight touch inside in for the run for Alvarez. And yeah, it's a good strike, and again well blocked by the Burnley defenders.
Here is Diaz on halfway. He's received the ball from Ortega and played it into the centre circle. Manchester City dominating possession, dominating all aspects of the game right now. They look like they're a team that are cut above Burnley, who worked very well in the first half an hour of this game to stay in it and keep Manchester City at arm's length. Here is Alvarez into Haaland, making a bit of movement between two defenders. Alvarez has picked up the loose ball. Kevin De Bruyne's got it onto his right foot. His shot has got some air on it because it's taken deflection off Bayer and gone behind and away for a corner kick over on the far side.
You can sense it coming, can't you? It just seems like Burnley players are a little bit leggy now. They're not getting as close as they were in the first half. And Manchester City are starting to find gaps, and as you see there, Kevin De Bruyne gets it out of his feet. We've seen him do this season and put it into that top corner. It was heading that way, and it's a good header in the end by Bayer to deflect it out for a corner.
Leading scorers in the Championship are getting a lesson of what to expect when they're promoted at the end of this season. Here's Mahrez with the delivery towards the edge of the box. Foden actually took that off the toes of De Bruyne, who was coming in behind him and ready to wrap that into the top corner.
Yeah, I think the atmosphere, you can't hear that communication. He might have called for it, but he took the header on instead.
Walker has just nudged the ball back to Ortega. We better head off to Stamford Bridge where there's a penalty for Ian Abrahams.
Chelsea won, Everton won. Chelsea have got the penalty. It was Reece James, played a 1-2, got inside the penalty area. Tarkowski took him out. Took an age for the referee to actually award the penalty, but given the go-ahead by VAR. Now Jordan Pickford is time wasting a little bit, but Kai Havertz has put the ball on the penalty spot. He missed and then subsequently scored here in the home game against Dortmund in the Champions League. Now Pickford's come out of his goal and is mucking about, and the referee Darren England just standing there. Just get on with it. Havertz has now re-put the ball back on the spot, and still Pickford's bouncing up and down. This time at least he's on his line. Referee seems fairly happy everyone's outside the penalty area, so it's going to be Kai Havertz from the penalty spot to restore Chelsea's lead here on a bizarre afternoon for teams at the bottom of the table. Are Everton going behind again? Havertz waits, composes himself, steps up, stutters and sends Pickford the wrong way. It's Chelsea 2, Everton 1.
And back here it is Manchester City 3, Burnley 0. And I don't need to tell you who scored the goal. Erling Haaland, goal number 42, hat-trick number 6, goal number 8 of the week, has put Manchester City into an unassailable position and has supplanted them into the last 4 of the FA Cup.
The lyrics that have just come out of your mouth are ludicrous. His 8th goal of the week. It's outrageous. I mean, you say it's a great strike from Foden coming in off that left-hand side, hits the post, lands at Haaland's feet, and he's just Johnny on the spot. He's ready. He lifts it into the roof of the net, and that's his 6th hat-trick this season. What happened before that? And might seem insignificant. There was a long ball from the left-back position to Manchester City over towards Phil Foden. As Phil Foden was going to challenge for it, the amount of ground that Kevin De Bruyne made up to make sure he was there to pick up that second ball, and that made sure that Manchester City picked up possession and were able to attack on that occasion, and they got the goal from it. It leads from little things like that, and that's why we say in the game when you're coaching, get the second balls. They're so important, because if you get the second balls, you're in possession, you can go and attack.
Well, he has his hat-trick. He's not going to take him off again, is he? After 60 minutes.
Hey, they've got some big games coming up.
Not this week, they haven't.
No, they haven't. But I mean, I was looking at the fixtures, and the important fixtures for me are that Liverpool on April the 1st.
Yeah, live on Talksport.
You've got the Champions League, obviously the double game against Bayern Munich. You've also got the Brighton away game. I think that's going to
Foden picks the ball up in the centre circle, plays it out towards the right-hand side. He looks for Mahrez. Remember, they're going for a treble here, Manchester City. They're looking for the FA Cup, the Champions League and the Premier League. The treble.
They've done it before, but not that treble.
Not that treble, they haven't.
Still a treble. And it ended up being a quad, because it was the Community Shield as well.
Talking about winning everything, let's go to the Aviva Stadium. David Brady.
Yeah, Ireland 29, England 16, so it's a Grand Slam and Six Nations title for the home side. A few nervy moments when Owen Farrell cut the gap to 10-9, but tries from Robbie Henshaw, Dan Sheehan with his second, and Rob Herrig against one by Jamie George for England pulled Ireland clear. Johnny Sexton kicking 4 from 4 in his last Six Nations game, full time. Ireland 29, England 16.
Ball on the right, it's picked up by Mahrez. He's coming forward 3-0 to Manchester City. He's laid it into Kevin De Bruyne, who's got in behind, squared it, tapped in by Alvarez for a fourth. Brilliant Manchester City move, created by Kevin De Bruyne, finished off by Julian Alvarez. It's a 4-star show from Manchester City. They are taking a leaf out of the Cheltenham book and galloping away from Burnley by a few lengths now. It's 4-0 and Julian Alvarez is on the score sheet too.
Well, this is getting uncomfortable now. You're looking at some really tired bodies in that Burnley side just walking back. Almost look like they've got lead in the boots now, and Manchester City, the players full of confidence. And then you look at the players coming off the bench now. Akanji's coming on, and Cole Palmer, the youngster, come through the academy. Yeah, excellent performance from Manchester City. And people will expect this, but they're playing against a good team. Kevin De Bruyne has set the standards with his professionalism, the intensity of the team, and that they have shown no complacency at all in this game, and that's why they've managed to get themselves into a 4-0 lead.
Here he is, Haaland being replaced on 61 minutes. Cole Palmer is coming on, it's 62 minutes actually, and Manuel Akanji replacing Ruben Diaz as well. Haaland, Haaland, Haaland is the cry from the Manchester City fans, who are all up with their camera phones taking pictures of him if he comes off with a big smile on his face. Goal 40, 41 and 42 have been scored tonight. 36 appearances this season, 42 goals, 8 in the last... Well, actually, it's 8 in the last 5 days.
It's freakish, isn't it? Because I think we've had the era with Ronaldo and Lionel Messi where they used to score more than 1 goal a game. But for someone like Erling Haaland
no
to
one
be
does
doing
it in
that,
the Premier League, do they?
Absolutely not. It's just unbeknown. But he's doing it, and you can't see him stopping. He's got the team around him. He's got the platform. He's got the manager. And it must be an absolute nightmare to be playing against.
Palmer on and Akanji on. Akanji slots into the back four. Palmer will go to the left-hand side. Alvarez will go now as the point man, and Foden will drift into the centre. They're going to bring on Phillips as well, and I think that's Sergio Gomez is it down in front of me as well. It looks as if he's going to come on and go, I would have thought, in at left back, which is his most natural of positions. Where's 21 because he's a David Silva fan? Did you know that?
Absolutely. And also on top of that, you look at the players that they could have brought on, and I think they've been quite kind to Vincent Kompany's side, because they could have brought on John Stones, Nathan Ake, who's potentially player of the year this season at Manchester City, Gundogan, Grealish. So I think they've been quite kind with the players that they brought on.
Here is Rodri. running with the ball at his feet. 4-0 to Manchester City, live on Talksport, the first of all 4 quarter-finals that are only on Talksport. This one only live to national radio next Sunday, well, this Sunday afternoon. Tomorrow, 4:30 kickoff for Manchester United against Fulham is only live on this station, and 2 more as well before that, including the game at Bramall Lane, which starts early doors tomorrow. So you can have your bacon sandwiches or your cereal, and then turn your radio on for 12 o'clock for live football back to back to back. And then when you wake up to have your breakfast on Monday morning, Laura will be back to take you through all the weekend's action with Ali McCoist. And if you fancy something a little bit different, then Chris Evans will take you through the morning with his breakfast show. I saw him, and I think it was his son, doing an interview with Justin Bieber the other day. It's a good video, actually. Chris's Instagram action has gone through the roof over the last few weeks. Phillips and Gomez are on, and Rodri, one of those to depart as a result of that, and Rico Lewis is the other. And it's 4-0. And what have Burnley learnt from this game that they're going to be able to take into next season? Because really that is the key, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's just that everyday training, pushing yourself every day to improve at every aspect of your game, tactically. Definitely.
Palmer into the penalty area, clips the ball towards Alvarez. It's half cleared. Phillips keeps it alive. Gomez turns it back to Akanji. Manchester City playing all their football. Every player is at least 10 yards in opposition territory before they eventually turn it back to Ortega as Burnley try to come out and push them back towards some sort of relative arm's length.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of them where if you lose the ball, you've got a lot of Manchester City players in the vicinity to win it back. And I think that's why they're so high up in the pitch. But yeah, I mean, you asked the question. They'll understand levels. Because they have beaten a Premier League side this year in the FA Cup, Bournemouth. So, but when you look at Bournemouth and Manchester City, it's a completely different kettle of fish. So, I think they'll understand that there's a lot of learning to do. Maybe there's going to be some more recruitments coming in to strengthen this side when they do go into the Premier League and get promoted.
Will they be a good addition to the Premier League next season, do you think? Or will they be able to hold their own?
Well, I think because they've got the manager, I think there's a star quality there anyway, and the style of play that they're going to attempt to play. I don't think they're going to change the style of play. So I think that deserves some kind of credit, because if you look at most of the successful teams, look at Brighton, look at Fulham, you know, the teams that have really surprised some of the Premier League this season. Look, you know, they play excellent football, especially the job that Roberto De Zebri's done at Brighton. I find it intriguing the way that their centre-half gets the ball, comes out, puts his foot on it and says, come and get it. So it's just becoming a better league. The standards it's improving all the time, and they'll have to step up if they want to survive, because looking at this size performance today, it's going to be difficult.
De Bruyne moving into the central part of the Burnley half. He spreads it wide of Foden, who takes the ball beyond the fullback, clips the ball into the 6-yard box, comes back to Cole Palmer after being punched away from Peacock Farrell, and Palmer finishing it off and scores a 5th for Manchester City. Cole Palmer on as a substitute. He shone in this competition last year before injury took him. His last goal was in this competition against Swindon in the FA Cup 3rd round last January, and he's back on the score sheet again. He scores City's 5th. It's 5-0.
Yeah, it's demoralising, that, and it's so unfortunate as well, because it's a decent cross in and it's a good save from the goalkeeper, and it just lands at Cole Palmer's feet. It's a tidy finish, but there was plenty of Burnley defenders there, and it just didn't land at one of the Burnley defenders' feet. And yeah, it's a really accomplished finish, that, as well. Just slotted it in on the volley first time with his right foot.
Well, it's getting better and better for Manchester City and their supporters, not so much for the Burnley supporters that have made a short distance down the M66 today. And I think they'll be a little bit disappointed with what's happened in this second half. The first half was a pretty good showing. There'll be question marks about the team, I would have thought, bearing in mind the likes of Barnes were left on the bench. He's been on the pitch now, but not been able to do too much. When you're 2-0 down against Manchester City, that's always going to be difficult. What's the situation at Stamford Bridge? Chelsea heading for a victory, another victory in Abraham?
Looks like it. Chelsea 2, Everton 1, 5 to play since Chelsea's goal from Havertz for the spot to give them a 2-1 lead. Dwight McNeil has shot just narrowly wide, but you have to say Chelsea should see it out. 5 to go, Chelsea 2, Everton 1.
Here we go. The City fans are doing the Poznan. It's all right, Trev, if you want to get involved, you can. We don't mind.
Listen, they're enjoying themselves, aren't they? They're playing champagne football this season, and They're still in three competitions, the FA Cup, the Premier League.
De Bruyne out to Mahrez, inside the area, left-footed, drives it against the goalkeeper, comes back to Alvarez, little turn, shoots towards the far corner, blocked by Connor Roberts and cleared away from inside the box. They still come down the right. Mahrez has it towards Walker, back to Mahrez again, then Foden. He turns the ball out towards the far side, and then Phillips pulls it in towards the near corner, thrashes a shot through the 18-yard box and over the top of the crossbar in the end, and so close to getting his first Manchester City goal.
Yeah, they're enjoying themselves on and off the pitch, the Manchester City fraternity. You've got the players playing excellent football, creating chances at will, and listen to this atmosphere. This is outstanding.
It is. It's one hell of a noise. And the Poznan, when they do it, they all turn their backs on the play and bounce up and down, and the stadium looks, because of the jagged movements, there's no real rhythm to it, that the whole sort of structure is moving around you. It's a brilliant view, it really is. It sort of carries you a little bit.
It's not what you want to see from the opposing fans or from the opposing team, though, because it means that Manchester City are cruising.
Zaroury on the left-hand side for Burnley, looking for a consolation goal. They lead 5-0 Manchester City with 19 minutes still to play. Roberts around the corner, and the ball goes straight through to Ortega. I mean, look, is there any suggestion here that maybe because he's a club legend that Manchester City should just ease off the gas a little bit and not go for the full humiliation?
Well, I actually think they've been kind with the substitutions, because I mentioned it earlier, they could have brought on Grealish, they could have brought on Gundogan, who's an absolutely mesmerising player who will enjoy this environment, but I think they've been quite kind to Burnley and to Vincent Kompany with the substitutions that he's made. So yeah, how kind can you be? The players are out there. Once they're out there and you cross that white line, there's no friends in this game, and you want to win as comfortably as you can.
5-0 the score. It's Talksport. Here is Ashley Barnes sending it long down the left-hand side, scampering forward over on that far side. The ball picked up by Mason, but he tries to centre it, looking for Obafemi, can't reach him, and it's cleared away by Manchester City, who lead by 5. The second time in a week that they've scored 5 goals. It's been a goal at Stamford Bridge as well. We'll get there in just a second, but De Bruyne's got the ball in a dangerous position. He's looking to release Alvarez, who's going to outpace the defender. Al-Dakhil gets into the penalty area, twists him, turns him, gets it onto his left foot, smashes it into the net. Alvarez scores Manchester City's 6th. Brilliant, bludgeoning finish from the Argentine. His 11th goal of the season, and another assist for Kevin De Bruyne, who may have been told to do the basics better, but De Bruyne excels at the extraordinary.
He's a master. He is a master. And actually, Alvarez was looking to try and get that ball wide with his first movement, one-on-one with the defender, and he was pulling wide to make that passing passage there. Kevin De Bruyne went, we're not having any of that. Just delayed on the ball a little bit and then forced Alvarez to run inside. It's a perfect ball, and then it's a race. Alvarez has got the skill to sit him down, pick his spot, and what a wonderful goal that is.
Well, he's nicknamed La Rana, the Spider, in Argentina, because of his ability to control the ball and thrash it into the net like a spider catching a fly and confining it to its web. And that was a pure example of exactly that technique.
He's been so unfortunate not to get as much football as he has, because I feel he's an excellent player. He's just signed a new contract for the football club. And really exciting times for Alvarez. And that's what you want. You know, you listen to Antonio Conte saying too many selfish players playing for themselves. Alvarez doesn't say anything when he's on the bench, when he's not playing. That's the kind of players you want at your football club.
03717333344 is the number to call if you're a Spurs fan, because that Antonio Conte interview earlier was explosive. Is there an explosive moment at Stamford Bridge? Ian Abrahams.
Sure is. Chelsea 2, Everton 2. I don't know which Muppet told you Chelsea were going to hang on, because they haven't. Ball touched into Ellis Sims, broke into the area, and he fired past Kepa. I think Kepa could have done better. It's Sims' first senior goal for Everton. Chelsea 2, Everton 2.
Yeah,
brilliant. Ellis Sims, he was at Blackpool, know a lot about him.
Did well up at Hearts as well.
Absolutely.
And recalled from Sunderland, was it, when he was at the first half of the season?
Yeah, good decision again from Sean Dyche, sensible. He's scoring goals, he's confident, he's playing in the division below. Why not give him the opportunity to come back into the squad, integrate him and then see if he can affect games, and that's exactly what he's done at Stamford Bridge.
6-0 here to Manchester City, and Chelsea fans might want to have their say on the phone in as well as Tottenham fans. 03717223344. Manchester City fans, well, they'll certainly be enjoying themselves tonight, celebrating a wonderful week. 13 goals scored, none conceded, progress into the quarter-finals of the Champions League and the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Burnley were unbeaten in 9 away games in 2023 before today, but they've come crashing down to earth. But Vincent Kompany is going to have to use all of those powers of intelligence and diplomacy and humbleness to get his team back on board once again and focus for what is to come. That they'll get promoted, they need 3 wins and that's it. But, you know, he is going to have to try and use all of those skills that he's acquired over the last couple of years. Oh, Peacock Farrell's just kicked the ball against Alvarez and it almost ended up in his own net.
But I think that tells you everything you need to know about this Manchester City side. They're 6-0 up. You know, the game's just, trickling away. What have we got? We've got another 15-14 minutes to go, and the forwards are still absolutely working the socks off from the front. And that would have been his hat-trick, and it wasn't far wide. He blocked the attempted clearance from Peacock Farrell, and it just whistled a couple of yards past the post. I think there's a lot more to come from Alvarez, I really do.
Couple of changes. Vitinho is off and Bastian is on. Taylor is coming on. Charlie Taylor, experienced left-sided defender, play at left-back here because Maitson is coming off. And Manchester City still threatening to score more goals. Burnley aren't the finished article, and they know that. The one thing that does sort of concern you if you are a Burnley fan, Vincent Kompany says everything's going to be all right, but they have been placed under a transfer embargo in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. So whether he's going to be able to look at the loan system to get players in of quality and experience in the Premier League, because some of these players, like I mentioned earlier, have got experience in the Premier League, but quite a lot of them haven't, especially the new signings. They've never played in the Premier League and they've never played at this level. But you are talking about a freakish side. Not every team in the Premier League is like Manchester City.
No, they're not, which is probably a good job for the likes of Burnley, who will find themselves in the Premier League next season. In fact, it's good news for everyone, really, that there's only one Manchester City. 7-0 winners against RB Leipzig, and 6-0 winners at this moment in time, with 12 minutes to go, by the way. Now, this score could get even bigger.
Yeah.
They do have a 5-man leadership group, similar to that employed by Pep Guardiola at Burnley, in which they sort of consult and test theories and ideas with the manager.
Listen, I think there'll be a realism after playing this game, and sometimes it can be a positive thing to say, listen, lads who might be getting a little bit complacent because they're doing so well in the Championship, we need you to work harder now and over the summer when we do pre-season, so that when you do get the opportunity to play in the Premier League, you're more ready for it. Because going off the basis of this, which is a difficult one to base it off, because Manchester City are a freakish team.
Absolutely. And they've been brilliant all season. I watched them against QPR earlier in the campaign, played QPR off the park down at Loftus Road. They were brilliant that day.
Yeah, I've seen them play a few times this season as well, and they are a good footballing side.
And they're still playing their football now, to be fair to them. I mean, they're pressed within an inch of their life, but they're still managing to try and play out from the back and try and get up the pitch and take the pressure off their defence. Cullen has it in midfield, under pressure from Palmer. Plays it back to Connor Roberts, and then Cullen has it again. Roberts in the right full-back position, plays it infield, gives it to Cork, and then it goes back to Byatt on the edge of the penalty area. Al Dakhil
steps out well, doesn't he? Steps out well when he...
Al Dakhil?
Yeah, both of them. I think both central defenders do.
It's not actually something that's alien to any of the fullbacks, central defenders at Burnley this season.
But that's his specific position, isn't it? That's his area of expertise when you talk about Vincent Kompany. So he has pinpointed them players because he knows they've got the ability to be able to do that.
Full-time at Stamford Bridge, another disappointment for Graham Potter. Here's Ian Abrahams.
Chelsea 2, Everton 2. Chelsea twice led through João Felix and Kai Kai Havertz penalty, but Doucouré's flicked header, and then right at the end, Ellis Sims' goal, his first senior goal for Everton, earned them a point. Everton celebrating like mad. Chelsea checking they're not walking their dogs tomorrow because they don't know how to hang on to a lead. Chelsea 2, Everton 2.
So 03717223344. If you're a Chelsea fan and you want to have your say on that, then Jamie O'Hara and Gabby Agbonlahar would love to hear from you. And also, Antonio Conte, I'm being told, has gone wild in his press conference. So, I mean,
what manager wouldn't? You 3-1 up on 76 minutes.
Well, he picks the team and makes substitutions.
The players have got to manage the game better.
Well, I mean, that is an accusation that you could make on this incident. But I was doing the game when they played Milan in the Champions League. They were down to 10 men, needed a goal to stay in the tie. He took off a forward player in Kulusevski and brought on a defender.
No, I agree.
So they're not the only ones that have got question marks over them, are they?
I agree.
03717223344. I think he's sort of talking his way into a departure. I think that's the impression I get. His contract runs out at the end of the season anyway. And we'll see what happens. But they've fallen off the pace in the race for the top 4. Newcastle will be absolutely delighted after winning in the last minute last night, live on Talksport with a penalty from Isaac.
How cool was that?
He's a good player, though. I've been talking about that on the Game Day podcast for a little while. You know, how I thought he would come good. His XG per 90 is second only to Erling Haaland.
Yeah, I've seen that. But I just love this celebration. Obviously, when you score a last-minute winner, done it a couple of times, it's the feeling that you get is just incredible, ecstatic.
Playing out the last 9 minutes here. It is 6-0 to Manchester City.
But the Geordie fans jumping into the fans like that, and I'm really appreciating the knowledge and the, you know, Geordies live for football, don't they? And he knows how much it means to them as well, and to bring them into the celebration, I just thought that was outstanding.
We all live for football. Here is Zaroury. Infield to Cullen, then to Roberts, and Cullen again. Burnley having the opportunity to play their way into the Manchester City half of the field. Is drifted out wide onto Charlie Taylor, whose left-footed cross is a good one, punched away by Ortega. And in front of his defence, there wasn't anybody pushing pressure on him per se, but Obafemi was at the back post lurking. If indeed the ball came his way, it didn't, and the Irishman now picks it up over on the far side. Ireland have won the Grand Slam for the first time at home since 1985. Chelsea have been held by Everton. 2-2 the score there. Elsewhere today, it's been a busy day in the Premier League, but here come Ashley Barnes into the penalty area, trying to convert from Obafemi's cross, and he's just touched it wide of the left-hand upright. Half decent move that from Burnley.
Yeah, Obafemi did really well, shown great strength, just put his body across to stop the City defender getting there first, and then drove towards the 18-yard box and put in a really wicked cross. Just couldn't get angled towards the goal on the finish.
Elsewhere, Aston Villa beat Bournemouth by 3-0. Brentford 1, Leicester 1. Brentford were down to 10 men. Wolves were beaten at home by Leeds by 4-2. Southampton came back from 3-1 down with just minutes to go to draw with Tottenham 3-3 and Chelsea 2, Everton 2. We've just told you about. Here it's 6-0 to Manchester City with 7 minutes remaining here, and Manchester City, who have got a quicker than anticipated reunion with João Cancelo coming up. Now at Bayern Munich, hoping to negotiate their way through that into the semi-finals. Bayern actually in a tussle for the title in Germany. Usually they would have had that sewn up by now, but it hasn't been a great season for Nagelsmann.
No, that's going to be a big tie. Like we mentioned earlier, I think you've done one of the Bayern games. Excellent outfit, aren't they? I did the PSG first leg, and I thought they literally controlled the first hour of that game. Should have been out of sight. Probably not as clinical as they would have liked to have been, but played very well.
Yeah, the Champions League rules state that Cancelo can play in that upcoming tie as well.
It's going to be popcorn time. Musiala as well, what a player he is.
I wonder if they'll put João Cancelo up for the press conference in the build-up to the game. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Manchester City just walking the ball around inside their own half, by the way. They've won the game, they know it. They've now just sent it long through Akanji up towards Mahrez. Doesn't reach him. Goes down a plane out for a throw-in away to our left-hand side. Interested to get a sight of Craig Bellamy down in front of us. I think a lot of people weren't anticipating him to go into coaching when he finished his football, but he is a good sounding board for Vincent Kompany. He I think these two got to know each other when they were here at Manchester City. They appear to be chalk and cheese, but they come from very similar backgrounds, actually. They've got a tremendous work ethic. They work 12, 13, 14 hours a day, every day, on trying to make this team better.
Take the excuses away from the players. Don't give them any excuses. And if you do your preparation right, that's what managers and coaching staff do.
They both study the workings of Johan Cruyff and value his impact on the game. Bellamy did joke yesterday that they do have a few differences. Company speaks 5 languages. He says he barely speaks 1. But they know how to communicate in terms of football, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Peacock Farrell kicks it long through the middle of the pitch, looking for Obafemi. Out comes Stefan Ortega, and he will clip it high into the evening sky. 5 minutes to go. Roberts forward, 6-0 to Manchester City. 3 goals for Erling Haaland, 2 for Julian Alvarez. It's been a very good night for Manchester City. Here is Sergio Gomez moving up towards the left touchline. Cole Palmer, the other scorer on the night, gets hold of the ball, plays it into De Bruyne. De Bruyne jinks his way past 2 players, gets brought down by Cullen, and has the chance for a free kick.
Surprised that Kevin De Bruyne has played a full game, or it looks like he's playing a full game. Because I know they've got a bit of a break now. They've not got any games for a while, but still, you know, your main player, your best creative player, and he's not a young man anymore, and he plays the game full-blooded. I don't know, I'd probably be tempted to have taken him off by now, just to safeguard him.
He's got a bit of a whack, and he's got blood coming from his knee. He's just puffed out his cheeks.
The only thing I can think of, Sam, is I think he's one of them players that he has to play game in, game out to keep that match sharpness. So if you rest him, I'm not saying he gets out of shape, but he just lacks a little bit of that match fitness.
He's not going to take this free kick. He's going to leave it for Walker or Foden, who are angling up to this one. It's going to be Walker who hits it square onto Mahrez, takes a couple of touches, runs into traffic, and then Obafemi intercepts and nudges it out towards Bastien on this near side. Obafemi then allows it to hit the back of his heels. The counter-attack is on here for Burnley. Charlie Taylor travels with it down the left side of the centre circle, spreads the play to the right-hand side. Bastien takes over, can't get it under control, and then the ball goes back infield towards Roberts. Roberts into Zaroury. He's dispossessed by Mahrez. De Bruyne brings it clear out towards the near touchline. He takes on one challenge. Court comes across. In fact, it was Cullen who came across and swept the ball out of play in front of Vincent Kompany. De Bruyne's not happy with Zaroury. The two exchange a couple of words. John Brooks has to go and get in the middle of them.
Yeah, good turn of pace there from Kevin De Bruyne against Zaroury. Looked like he was going to go back and try and recycle the ball, and then just chip down the line, won the foul. Excellent play from him.
Manchester City lead by 6-0 against Burnley in the FA Cup quarter-final, live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. Tomorrow, 3 live commentaries. The other 3 quarter-finals are only on Talksport. Sheffield United against Blackburn, early doors. Then we're straight onto the game between Brighton and Grimsby. Yeah, Grimsby are in the FA Cup quarter-finals, and they're bringing a haddock with them. Don't worry about that. And then later on in the afternoon, it is Manchester United against Fulham. Going to be a change here. I think De Bruyne is going to come off and be replaced by Grealish with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
Standing ovation for the captain on the day. He's been brilliant.
Wonderful player. Might need an ice bath after that.
Yeah, get straight in there. Off to international duty with Belgium, and he's got quite a few to release on international duty. Gets a pat on the back from his manager, Kevin De Bruyne.
Huge appreciation from this Etihad crowd for his services and what he brings to this football club.
Ashley Barnes has just chased down a ball which was tossed back in by a Burnley player because it had been kicked out so that they could make the substitution because De Bruyne was hobbling. And Manuel Kanji wasn't too happy about the fact that Barnes contested that.
I know he's a big lad and he can look after himself, Ashley Barnes, but I would have picked someone else to upset because Akanji is an absolute monster.
Yeah, he's another one. I say this every time we do them on Talksport, how easily he has settled into this group. It's been seamless, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not always easy to get straight away. into it. But he's a very, very intelligent guy, and he said he's always studied Manchester City and how Pep Guardiola plays, so it was easy for him to slip into the system as a result of that. This is a guy, if you said to him, what's 88 times 77, he would tell you the answer before you could even type it into a calculator.
Yeah. What a ball as well.
Wraps that into Alvarez on halfway. Popped it out wide to Gomez. 6-0 to Manchester City. Cole Palmer taking the ball down the touchline. Barnes allows it to go out of play. He thinks that should have been a throw in his way. It's gone the other way instead. And it's going to be a throw in to Manchester City. 13 seconds of normal time to play.
Let's hope that there's a bit of compassion from John Brooks. He doesn't put on too much.
They haven't brought that in yet, have they? They have talked about it in the last week or so, about mercy time. Just 2 minutes of added time being added at the end of the 90. Anthony Taylor.
I think that's pretty kind.
That's pretty fair, I think, as well, isn't it? Most of the goals for Manchester City, 4 of them have been scored in this second half. It's been a real treat for the Manchester City faithful. And we've got a real treat for you upcoming at full-time. Jamie O'Hara and Gabio Bonlahor with the phone in.
Oh, just lashed out there, Ashley Barnes. Pickpocketed. He got the ball into his chest. He was controlling it, trying to link up the play, and Laporte's just run around the front of him and nicked it off him, and he's literally just lashed out at Laporte and put him to the ground and earned himself a yellow card in doing so.
Ouch.
Yeah, a little bit reckless that. I think a little bit of frustration, possibly because of the scoreline, but also the fact that he didn't start the game.
Free kick and a yellow card dished out to Ashley Barnes as we go through the final few seconds. City about to reach the semi-finals of this competition without conceding a goal for the first time since 2013. City about to win their last 11 straight home games in this competition. It's been a seamless transition to Wembley. They are visiting the Arch once again in the hunt of yet another FA Cup, their 7th FA Cup they hope it will be at the end of the season. They're still very much in the title race, very much in the hunt for a Champions League place. The treble, the proper treble, is still available for them.
Salty.
Don't be giving me all quadruple stuff again.
Very salty, Sam.
They're not salty at all. Just don't call it a
They're just different trebles. One's actually called, I think, the continental treble, and one's the domestic treble.
Yeah, and this one's the real treble that they're chasing. Here is Grealish back towards Laporte and then all the way through to Ortega. Ortega under a little bit of pressure from Barnes, but no fluster about him. He elegantly kicks the ball forward, and that's the end of the game. Manchester City are on the road to Wembley and one step closer to glory. For a 5th straight season, they will contest an FA Cup semi-final. They have thrashed the team led by their former captain Kompany with very few problems, and thanks to another hat-trick, his 6th of the season for Erling Haaland. It's been a magnificent week to be a Manchester City fan. 13 goals without reply. They are still in the hunt for the fabulous 3. They are giving chase in the Premier League. They have their eyes on the Champions League, and they are very much still in the FA Cup too. The last few months of this season are full of promise for Pep Guardiola. It's finished. Manchester City 6, Burnley 0.
Thank you very much, Sam. I mean, it ended up a demolition, didn't it? You predicted it could go that way. Yeah. But I have to say, Trevor, in the first half, I thought Burnley played really well, but they just unravelled.
Yeah, I think I think when you've got 80% possession, which Manchester City did at times throughout that game, it's so draining on the legs, so fatiguing, and there's going to be gaps begin to appear because you can't play at that intensity out of possession. I don't care whatever team you are, you're going to come off it a little bit, and as soon as they came off it, Manchester City punished them, and they were just too supreme for Burnley. And that's not saying that in a disrespectful way, but there's levels to the game, and Manchester City are right at that top table, and Burnley, doing really well in the Championship, playing attractive football, got a fantastic forward-thinking manager. But when you come up against a machine like Manchester City, there's no hiding place, and it's a huge pitch, and Manchester City have just played exceptional football. And what I would say about City is their attitude's spot on. There's absolutely no complacency there, and it looks like Pep, as a manager, has created this group, the elite group within the leadership group, and they're leading that superbly well.
Yeah, and some of those players going over to Vincent Kompany actually and having a chat with him. Kevin De Bruyne, one of them, and Kyle Walker as well. Not the homecoming that the legend that is Vincent Kompany will have wanted for sure. However, I'm sure he would have loved to be captain of this side with a player of Erling Haaland's quality in it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I seen a little interview that he had leading up to this game, and he was asked the question, would he have liked to have played against Erling Haaland, and his answer was yes, because he loved that combativeness, he loved that challenge. And I'm sure listen, when Vincent came to the football club, we didn't have that style of play, and he evolved with the style of Manchester City football. So he's probably in a great position to help these young players that he's brought to Burnley Football Club. And listen, they're going to get promoted. I think they'll need some strengthening, but these lads will get, it's a bit of a humbling for them today, and they'll go home, they'll lick the wounds, but they've been given a very harsh lesson today, and if they take that forward and try and improve individually, collectively from this, it can be a real positive for them in their careers moving forward.
Yeah, Bailey Peacock-Farrell just going down the tunnel looks absolutely devastated. However, they need to pick themselves up, because just 3 wins and they could go on and be promoted to the Premier League. Such has been their dominance in the Championship this season.
Yeah, been outstanding, and that you can't lose sight of that. So I'm sure when they go in that dressing room, Vincent Kompany, the rest of the coaching staff will be lifting the players. They'll be there, trying to make them understand why it's happened, because of the quality that Manchester City possess. But also putting an arm around them and saying, listen, we've got things to do this season, we've still got to achieve what we want to achieve. There's a possible 110 points available for them to achieve if they win every one of their remaining games, and that would break the record for the Championship promotion. So I think that would be one goal, but certainly get over 106 points, because that would break the record, and that's something for them to zone in on and try and but try and take the learning curve from this game and the lessons from this game, and take that forward with them individually in their careers, but also for Burnley Football Club.
I can't wait to see what records Erling Haaland is going to break over his career. Goal 40, 41 and 42 of the season, 8th goal of the week, 6th hat-trick of the season. What next, Erling? Come on. This is FA Cup Game Day Live. Not a fun homecoming for Vincent Kompany. It's finished here, Manchester City 6, Burnley 0.